Welcome and happy Friday, everybody. We have a special event for you today. It's always special, but it's a live stream, and I'm going to show off the TCL QM8. But before we get any further, I need to welcome our special guest, Brian, also known as Whisper Status 74 for you old timers, who also has a channel that he's now called Brian's Tech Therapy. Brian, why are you here today, and why are you excited?
FOMO, what's up, bro? Thank you as
always
for having me. I want to set the stage for this conversation. Is the TCL M8 is myself and many of you that are looking for a new mini LED. Some of us are kind of OLED fatigued in a way, FOMO. I mean, they are taking over the world, but many of us want to stay with mini LED.
Hey, can we talk about OLED fatigue as soon as you're done? Because we talk about this, guys, like, another OLED, but we will leave that for a discussion later in this stream. Go ahead, Brian.
So for especially us in the heavyweight division, that is 70 or 85 and up or 83 and up, there really is no option other than LEDs. And I had the chance to spend some time with the Samsung QN95C yesterday. Blew me away. So with this showing up the very next day for you, and everything that we saw at CES from both Hisense and TCL, the fact that we're going to have other manufacturers at this level showing up is kind of keeping LEDs alive, which has my heart. So I'm excited to be here. But I think with OLEDs taking over and manufacturing with OLEDs changing, I'm just dying to have LEDs back in the conversation.
Absolutely. And well, how exciting is the TCL QM8? So let me give you guys some context. For the first time, TCL, a value brand, has broken over 1,000 dimming zones. Normally, those kind of specs are like reserved for Samsung and maybe even Sony if they were really into it, right? But now TCL has done it, and to me this is so impressive. Last year, the Hisense U8H had a little over 500 dimming zones and killed it. It literally beat the QN90B, I thought was better than the QN900B, both of which had about 900B had close to 1,000 dimming zones, and the 90B had over 700. Well, now the TCL QM8 has just over 1,000, and this was so exciting that I have to add this. Michael Grubbs, he went out, are you ready, and bought it just because I put up the stream.
You couldn't wait, my boy Michael could not wait. The extra, he's like, I'm going. That's it. You're covering it.
He's so excited. He's giving me giving us a super chat to say, "Hey, I bought it."
But so, Michael, don't white knuckle it. But I think too, FOMO, I mean, to put it in context too, the last time that you and I streamed, I think, was the QN95C that you had at 65 inches, and it was there against the S95C, and then all of a sudden, what TV was in there was the Hisense U8H, and if you pick that TV at all apart, put the price of it in. And the fact that it was even in the conversation brings these guys to that next level. And before we go further too, we talk about brand kind of prejudice, garbage brand. This is, well, guys, keep in mind, our favorite brands were always or at one time in that spot. So is this the year that TCL, we'll talk more about, I guess, just TCL more than Hisense here, but is this the year where they really are in that conversation? And that's an important thing, I think, for all of us. But LED fans, I got my boy High Def News in the chat who says we're one of the old heads that still loves LEDs. I'm excited, and I can't believe you have it already, especially since, real quick, the backstory of when FOMO does these, we started this with the S95B last year.
Yes.
And he just sprung it on me. He's like, dude, are you free right now? I'm like, why? He goes, I have it right here. I was just calling him today talking about the QN95 and that I'm ready to buy it. He's like, hold on. Are you free in a couple hours?
Yeah, exactly.
I am. He's like, let me change your mind maybe. So, I mean, this is, you can't get better than this and the coverage that, we're going to provide
well,
today.
Brian, let me change your mind because you're in the big boy club, 98-inch mini LED. Now, nothing out there is that awesome, and it's $10,000, right? So it's not cheap, but it's a mini LED, it's bright, and I want to address, John's, is TCL reliable? So Consumer Reports, the last time they did this comparison with reliability, back in, I think, 2019, 2018, what they noticed was that there is definitely a correlation between how much you pay for a TV and its reliability. Generally speaking, TVs under $600 are less reliable than TVs over $1,000. But then there is that kind of that point of diminishing returns. Whether it's 1,500 or 5,000, the reliability doesn't get better as you pay more. But above a certain price point, it is generally more reliable. And TCL specifically is the most reliable among the cheaper TVs. So if you are buying a TV under 500, TCL is consistently more reliable than all the other brands under $500. That includes Sony, Samsung, LG, it doesn't matter. So TCL, generally speaking, they know what they're doing, and they're also the white label company for Roku TV, right? They just released a TV this year. It's essentially, I'd say maybe a 5 series. It's just below the 6 series. So, oh, look who's here, Caleb.
Caleb Dennison in the house.
TV, right? Hey, Caleb.
What's up, Caleb?
And let's say hello to everyone.
Caleb,
hey,
Classy's in there. All the guys are in.
All the regulars are here. And so, well, speaking of the QM8, it's playing right below, and I'm going to start comparing them shortly. So I'll show you guys what kind of picture modes they're in. I haven't really done any testing at all. I mean, I literally just turn it on, make sure everything's working. And before the stream, I updated the firmware to make sure it's on the latest Google TV firmware, whatever it was. And do you remember last year how, maybe 2 years ago, how impressive the TCL first 6 series with MiniLED on Google TV, but then the Google TV first time it just broke. They had to pull it off the shelves at Best Buy for a month.
646?
646, yeah.
646.
646, I think, right? So last year was Roku, right? And Roku worked fine. And during the off season, I guess, they're trying Google TV again. And most of the issue is because Roku is not good with calibration. On the Roku OS, there's not a lot you can do, right? I mean, it was so frustrating that Sammy Prescott threw up his hands, was like, never again, I'm never going to calibrate a Roku TV, anything. It's just a nightmare. But this is a Google TV. It does have both 2-point and 20-point. Now, to the degree that it's easy to calibrate, I'll let classy and real calibrators let me know. Sammy is going to come by next month, so we'll see how much better this is compared to before as well. So he'll be calibrating the QM8, the G3, and maybe the Hisense U8K might be here by then. He's going to come by late June. So let me see what else. So other questions real quick before I turn on the other TVs, or we'll go through the settings here. And then
before we go into it though, FOMO, what's the expectation? What are you looking for? Are you looking for different setup? Are you looking for, hopefully this year we have these settings are different than they've been in the past? I've never liked either Hisense or TCL in terms of the way their settings are set up. Yeah. And these are going to be competing directly with, I'd say, the X95 from Sony and the QN95C. This is what we're talking about here is the highest end, right? So this is our direct comparisons of those in the future. So quickly before we start, I know we've spoken to the different manufacturers. This is really for them. Are you looking to compete with last year's QN90B, or are you looking to surpass? So it's like the Conor McGregor thing. Are you looking to partake or take over? So I want to hear now, are you looking to do that?
Okay, so I haven't done any comparisons yet, not even a rough one. My expectations are this. First, it has literally almost twice as many dimming zones as the U8H. I expect better blooming control, deeper blacks. Basically, I expect it to be very close, if not a match, for the QN95C. So when I had the QN95C about 2 weeks ago, compared to the U8H, Q95C beat it in terms of contrast. U8H was bright, but when it came to scenes that were HDR heavy, it was slightly washed out compared to the Q95C. And of course, Q95C had about 1,300 dimming, 1,300 dimming zones, right? I mean, it's a lot of dimming zones, almost twice as many as last year. So that really showed. Now, the Q95C wasn't necessarily brighter. It wasn't, but the contrast was better. And when running Spears and Munsil's and a few of the Spears and Munsil's new disc and a few of the HDR movies, there are some scenes where I can say, oh yeah, the U8H slightly washed out next to the OLED and next to the Q95C. So my expectation is the U8H was great for last year. It beat out the Q90B last year, in my opinion, because the 90B also was washed out. The 95C definitely addressed that. It is less washed out. And this is direct view, not off angle. So I expect the QM8 to be at least as good as the Q95C because of the number of dimming zones it has. So definitely better than the U8H. UAH. And for value, I mean, it's $1,500 currently on Amazon, and I know Best Buy will price match. I think Best Buy still has it at MSRP, which is like $1,700 or so. So they essentially will probably come down to $1,400 by Black Friday, maybe even $1,300. That's a phenomenal price if it actually matches and beats the U8H, which is currently $900. Still a good TV at $900, but the QM8 at over 1,000 dimming zones, which then many of you are asking, wait, what about Hisense's U8K, also just above 1,000 dimming zones? So will it be the same price? Will it be slightly less? We don't know yet, but I'll definitely have that TV to compare head to head. It would be great if the U8K maybe might be slightly cheaper, which forces TCL to price match. But I expect the QM8 gets us as close to OLED as we're going to get because of the number of dimming zones. And well, for the value already, I sense that this is going to be a great TV just based on dimming zone count. And their software has been getting better every year, right? When they started off with MiniLED, their first one back in 2019, super bright, really deep blacks, but everything was crushed to hell. So they really went all the way in with deep blacks and blooming control, but that resulted in a lot of crushed blacks.
Oh, the
this
8 series.
QM8, the original 8 series.
Terry in here, the Darkman. Terry in here, the Darkman has the Z9K, but he said that he had that original TV at launch. By the end of the year, it had really cleaned itself up. What's up, Terry?
He's watching us on the Beast, and it's not washed out. Yeah,
he's watching the Z9K. What are the available sizes for us? I guess we'll stick with TCL. We'll bring Hisense in as well. What are the sizes that we're really looking at? That's important for.
So this year, right now, as we speak, 55, 65, 75, 85. 85 will probably come a little bit later, and then the 98 even later than that. But for sure, 5 sizes from 55 inches all the way up, or does it have a 55 inch? For sure it has a 65 inch. 65, 75, 85, I believe probably 55 as well, and then 98 inch later in the year. And that 98 inch for under 10 grand, I expect it to be better than the QN90A 98 inch. That's still $15,000. So already we have a newer TV that's 2 years newer, should have algorithms to match what Samsung put out 2 years ago for a much better price. So I'm pretty excited.
Well, I'm excited too because I don't know if it's public yet, but I know Robert is looking, our good friend at Value Electronics, looking to carry the largest sizes.
Yes. He wanted to surprise us coming out later.
You went with Hisense and the TCL, so I'll be able to see the 85s in person and compare them to the Z9K, the 900C, and see how they really hang. So we'll be able to bring you the size. What size we have today, FOMO? 65?
We have the 65. This is the new remote. Wait. I have to be closer. There you go, so you guys can see it. It's hard to see, but it is backlit, and even though it's still plastic, it's backlit, right? So they're upping their game. It's backlit.
Little Fisher Price buttons, though, bro. It's something white buttons.
Yeah, the buttons are lightly lit, and you got Netflix, Prime Video, YouTube, the TCL channel, the TCL home button, and Apple TV. So the basics, right? And it looks pretty easy to navigate. So we're gonna start by just playing with the picture modes real quick. And
we got a couple super chats at the top, my friend.
Oh, yeah, let me get the super chats real quick. What are crushed blacks? I'll tell you, crushed blacks are when the black, it should be light gray or should be gray, it's black. And if you have specular highlights that are a little dim, it's now black. So it's excessively deep blacks because they don't want to lift some of that gray, but it helps control blooming. But now the black is too heavy-handed, I guess. It would be the best way to describe it. So, all right, let's look here. Hey, Brad, does the QM8 have multi-view, picture-in-picture? I don't know, but we'll see. We'll look in the settings. I don't think so, though. I think multi-view, picture-in-picture is unique to the new MediaTek. The new chip has it. I don't think this one does, but we'll check and see. But thank you for that super chat, Brad. Yeah, he and I are always back and forth about what TV he's going to get next. Mark, thank you for the super chat. Do you think the QM8 will surpass the QM900B? I believe so. I really do, because I thought the U8H surpassed it last year, although the QM900B is a better gaming machine because it does 4K 120 VRR without half resolution. The QM8, we're not going to talk about gaming, but we're going to talk about its HDR quality, its blooming control, should be better, is my expectation. The QM900C should have addressed some of the issues with the 900B, but it's significantly more expensive. So you're looking at the 85-inch. Definitely keep the QM8 on your short list. Just about last year's model, open box, but yes, return it, Mark. If you, because I know your open
yes,
box
right now, go.
It's more expensive than the QM8 closed box, right? So definitely, you have the U8H, you got the QM8 to look at, and the audio is better. Let's talk about the audio.
First of all, let's quickly talk about Samsung's audio. I was listening to the the 95C last night, 85 inches. I had it at like 100%. So I totally know what your parents are talking about now, where they're like, "Is this thing is not loud? I could not get the volume to go." I'm like, "Come on."
Both this TV and the U8H has a woofer in the back, like this big, to help elevate the voice, everything. It's just a louder, more clear TV. When you pump it up to, let's say, 80% volume, both the QN95C, the QN90B, and the QN900B, you pump up the volume to 80, 90%. It's not very loud. My U8H was louder than both with more balanced sound. It was just better audio. And I expect this QM8 to be similarly good in audio because you can see this woofer in the back as well, sticking out.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah,
I think
it's pretty exciting.
The slimness, they sacrifice the sound.
They do.
But real quick to gaming, guys. Being somebody who games, I had a PC with the S95C or the QN95C. I use 144 hertz. I'm a PC gamer. These things are going to be worth the extra $1,000. If you're going to spend $2,000 on a GPU and gaming, I think that to expect TCL and Hisense to catch up, though I know that those of us that CES really saw that they had, especially TCL, had an entire game area. So they're looking to do 144 hertz. I don't know if that's a half resolution, but you'll have to still do that math for yourself as far as gaming. Gaming is going to be a separate thing. We're going to have to wait and see. But that premium things, those things are going to be worth $1,000. So I think that's where you may have to look at it. And
big hellos to people that just joined us. Hey, David, we haven't started the comparisons yet. Just saying hello, getting warmed up. Oh, look, Tech with KG is here. Hey, KG. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the settings real quick. If you can handle the comments, Brian, that would be great. Oh, and let me go through all of our super chats real quick before I do that. Hey, Luis, thank you for that super chat. Do bigger TVs affect picture quality negatively? It depends how close you sit to it, right? So if it's a large 100-inch or 98-inch 4K TV and you're sitting 7 feet away, you may notice the pixel because pixel density is less at 4K at that size. But generally speaking, 4K is pretty good. I don't think, unless you go really large, like 120-inch, and you're sitting close enough, you're not going to notice to be that soft. So it really depends on how far you're sitting from a 4K TV. And some people are sensitive to it, but I think you, Brian, you have large TVs. Maybe you can help Luis understand, like, how far do you sit, and do you think the larger TVs negatively affect your image quality?
So, Luis, the rule of thumb is if you're going to jump up in size, no more than 10 inches a jump. If you go from 65 to 75, for instance, it'll be fine. But if you start jumping from a 55 to, say, an 85, it will look like a projector. So you have to give yourself a little bit of that space to not jump so much. And then even if that is the case, you'll get used to it rather quickly. So, but they do appear softer. Especially if you're up close, but don't jump that much in terms of size. So we got 335 in the chat. Please hit like, guys. What FOMO's doing here is not easy, setting these TVs up, having this TV. I mean, he set this up this morning. We were talking. What's up, Boomer?
Yeah, I unboxed it and plugged everything in. Yep.
So it's a lot of I mean, it's amazing what he's doing here. Lining these things up is not easy.
All right, before I jump into the settings for the TCL real quick, let's get this super chat. I'll be right back. Hey, Boomer, thanks for the super chat. I was one of the lucky ones who snagged a QM8 85-inch. All right, so 85-inch is out and available.
Commitment, huh?
$1,083. By the way, the QN90B last year is now between $2,300, $2,600, and if you have the special AAA deal, possibly under $2,000, but those are going fast. The QM8 I expect to be better than the QM90B at 85 inches, and the X95K, Sony's 85-inch, also a great TV last year, is still above $4,000 or around $4,000. So this QM8 85-inch $2,000, brand new, fresh 2023. I think you're going to love it. Hoping you're about to show me it was a good decision to pull the trigger. Let's hope so. We'll all be surprised together. So I am going to,
you
and
did not even put your
what?
seatbelt on.
Put your seatbelt. And to help answer your question, John, I will show you this ticker. There you go. Top left-hand corner is the G3, and then the Hisense U8H is top right, and the bottom, which I'll run the settings so guys can see what settings I'm using. The bottom right is the QM8. So I'll be right back, and let me run through the settings real quick for you guys while you go ahead and answer questions, Brian, and have fun with them.
So for you guys in the chat, where are you with TCL and Hisense? Honestly, as far as, are you, I mean, obviously you guys are here watching this. Are you ready to commit and say, well, obviously my man in the last comment already bought it. So are you guys ready to make that commitment? Do you, the operating systems, and the styling, which will ask FOMO when he comes back. Hisense and TCL, though they have caught up in some ways, their styling is still a few generations behind. Does that matter to you? The bezel, the badging, the gaming, they are lacking a great deal in that department. To me, that's make or break. So where are you guys in that? Are you ready to say, I'm Little Mermaid, bro? What are you doing? Are you guys ready to trust these brands and give them your money? But $2,000 for an 85-inch, that's absurd. Let me know what you guys think. Quickly, we'll say hello to everybody. Jaria, what's up? The Real Dan. KG, what's up, baby? I know Brandon was just in here. What's up, B? Franchise, what's happening? Let's see. Michael Grubbs, I just felt that $18.99 was too much for a 2022 mini LED. All depends on the size, Michael. I mean, I paid $5,000 for the Vizio P series at $75 not that long ago. Let's see. Buddy, I'm waiting for them to, Hisense to release their 2000 plus. And that's going to be interesting, too, that they're kind of in the same boat. At least at the highest end. I think TCL's highest end M8 will match up with Hisense. I think Hisense is mini LED all the way down the line, where TCL, if I remember correctly, gets full array and even direct display, direct lit at their lower end. So I think Hisense is going to take it there as having quality all the way through. But it's interesting at this top level. And I know Brandon was in the chat. Brandon had the massive TCL. So I'd love to hear him chime in, watch his videos too. Very thorough with these large TVs, but he had a TCL and lived with it for a long time. The funny thing is with a 98-inch TV, guys, who do you give that to when you upgrade? I mean, you can't give that one to your aunt. Silverback, Sony or Samsung. This year, it's going to be very difficult. Sony is late to the party. I just did a video on the X93, which is pretty much an X95. I'll see the X95 next week, but Samsung has so many options, and they kind of come from every angle. So they have so many, whether it's the QD OLEDs, the 95, the 90, the 85, they're just all over it.
And
okay, so what's up, Brandon? Brandon's saying 98-inch QM8 coming soon.
Brandon. No practice for the kids today, buddy. Good to see you, man.
Oh, he's at the field right now. He's not home.
Probably, right.
He's like, go, good job. Anyway,
real quick on the settings. So I put it. It's very interesting. Is LG doesn't, or not LG, TCL QM8 doesn't have filmmaker per se. It's called movie mode. So as I was going through it, you guys saw, and there's something called Smart HDR, which looks interesting. So I can play with that. But I think Smart, it said something about vivid mode. So you can't tell that you are in HDR mode because it doesn't say HDR. Literally, it just says movie mode. I'm going to assume that it's set up in warm. It's on its warmest setting default out of the box. So who knows if that's good or bad, but you could always adjust that, right? So now the U8H was calibrated by Sammy last year. The G3 is not calibrated, and the TCL, of course, is not calibrated. So let's look at this group picture, and you guys will have an idea of how the TVs kind of look out of the box, with the UH being the one that's probably most, so the QM8 is super bright. What the heck?
What's the nits that we're going to be looking at? Oh, I know this.
Yeah, so this one is just standard SDR. Even though it's HDR per se, it's set to, you know what, I'm going to take the TCL down. This is just way, I don't know why it's so bright. Like what?
So I'm going to tell you right now, the fact that it doesn't have an HDR banner already annoys me. So you got to spend that extra money, put that little HDR logo somewhere so we know we're in HDR. Now, FOMO, did you have to go in and enable any inputs or anything like that for HDR?
You know what? I don't know. Let me see here. I'm just trying to see why this is just so bright out of the box. But yeah, let me see. Maybe I have to do something special. Who knows?
What's up, Leo? Leo enjoying your 900C?
Okay.
Chintu
Make sure
Pop,
all
what's
the
going on? What's up,
intelligent settings.
Lees?
Adaptive
KDG,
brightness. Let's
man.
take that off. I mean,
Panning
they have these
control,
little
John.
secret settings. You guys have to be careful. So it defaults with adaptive brightness on. So maybe that did
Yeah, and
something to it.
try to find there's probably another eco mode in there. I know each of these companies has like these two different hidden
Yeah.
eco modes. What's up, Michael Foster? All right, guys. We have
Oh, local
389 in the chat.
contrast is
Please
on.
hit like.
All right. So local contrast was on high. That explains a lot. And I remember turning it off earlier. So I don't know what the deal is.
I love how, was it Vizio, TCL, and Hisense have like, oh, it's a local contrast enhancer. Like they try to change it a little bit. And they have different words for local dimming. And how many pages of settings do we have? I know with the Hisense dual cell, there was like 6 pages of settings.
It's a typical Google TV and it looks like TCL didn't do anything special with it, unlike Sony, which really heavily changes the settings for image quality. This one looks very straightforward, but I don't see any special anything or other HDMI mode.
So for me, what I'm looking for, guys, and I think you should be too, especially with LEDs, is flexibility of image, meaning how much can you alter the image? Because we're not going to get the micro contrast of an LG OLED or an S95C. So if it's looking washed out, can you change it? Can you alter it? Can you make more saturation? The problem I've had with some of these brands that they are what they are settings wise. So I'm looking today for at least some flexibility, FOMO, in the settings department.
It looks like the TCL is really, it's a little bit brighter. So out of the box, I can see that it doesn't follow the EOTF curve, and this is HDR. Because you see the G3 and the U8H, their lighting is identical. The TCL is definitely a touch brighter. I mean, you can see that. So that's something that I'm going to have to ask Simon when he gets here. But it appears, and I'm going to make sure that some weird auto contrast is not on. So those of you who just bought the TCL, make sure if it feels too bright, check to make sure that your picture settings, because it kept the dynamic contrast turned on automatically, even though I turned it off. So I want to make sure that that didn't happen again.
FOMO, James has a question. Is the screen plastic or is it glass? Plasticky? What's it feel like to you?
Oh, you know what?
I know we'll get into the.
Let me go up there right now. Yeah, good question. So let me see.
You just tap it lightly. You don't have to tap it with a hammer or anything. Snap.
Plasticky.
Plasticky. All right.
Yeah,
and how does and while you're there, how's the chassis? Does it feel premium to you? What are we looking at as far as the chassis? How's the edging, the bezel? While you're standing there, I figure we must get that out of the way now. Infamous, we're not going to have any measurements for input lag or anything just yet, my friend.
Okay, so let's just look real quick at its color science out of the box. Oh, man, this thing is bright. So it's interesting that, as you can see, the U8H and the G3 are a good match. Now, the U8H was calibrated, and we know that the G3 out of the box, it follows EOTF pretty well. Well, Classy could speak to that. But the TCL is definitely super bright. So it's not bright in terms of accuracy, but it looks, I mean, it looks good. It's just, I wish I can make it, I can go and lower the brightness, but that may affect a few things. So I'll let it run what it is.
What about the other presets, FOMO? Is another preset that maybe matches better? Can you run through those for us while we're here watching?
Yeah, good idea. So let's do that.
And another test for this, though, is do the presets change, or do you have to click them and back out of the menu, which you had to do with Hisense a couple of years ago, which is infuriating. Right. You should be able to go click them as we go. Oops. All right, that looks a little more close to what it was. What's that?
Okay, so we'll go through the so you have low power, which is like, this is so weird.
Why do you put that
super
there?
blue. Sports is the same bright. Okay, so movie, you could see that it has a lot less blue for sure. It's a lot warmer than sports. And I can't go straight to game mode, but I can go straight to PC. So only available when Game Master is enabled. So I didn't enable it. So that's something else to test at a later time. PC, IMAX. Oh, you know what? IMAX, actually, the lighting, I mean, it's still a little bit brighter though.
What's now? What? Just quickly name the presets for us. So we have
so the
vivid,
preset
low power.
here is vivid mode.
Yep.
And then you have low power mode, which is eco mode, sports mode, which is only slightly brighter than low power mode, movie mode, which is definitely the warmest so far, PC mode, which is a little bit, oh yeah, it's a bit brighter, and then IMAX. And then let's go back to movie. Yeah, IMAX appears to follow EOTF a little bit better. It's not as bright. The APL.
So wait, out of the presets, we have how many presets, including take PC and low power out? How many presets do we have?
You have vivid 1, 2, 3. So movie, IMAX, sports, and vivid 4.
Okay. Now that's already not good.
Yeah. You know what?
A standard mode. You need a cinema. You need a filmmaker. So these are the little things, guys. I mean, I'm sure the TV is great, but these are the little things we talk about: flexibility of image. Having a low power mode right there next to the vivid mode, you kind of need to have a bit more in terms of, again, flexibility. Now, hopefully in the settings you can correct it, but you can see here we are trying to match them up, and it's already difficult.
It is. But, we'll see how it goes with real images.
Absolutely. But I'm just trying to say that, guys, the difference is when we talk money and we talk value, sometimes these are the things that get left on the floor. What do you think about that, FOMO? I mean, do you feel like there's certain parts where, when you want to compete with that next level, that's where I think you lose.
I have to tell you, right here, I can already see the faces on the U8H is more washed out than QM8. Like, forget colors and stuff that you could always calibrate it. Just looking at the contrast, the QM8, you couldn't tell that it's not an OLED right now.
So even as bright as it is, it's not washing it out?
No. I mean, the faces.
That's good then.
The faces look so good. Yeah, the faces on the U8H. With the QM8 below it, I could already tell that these number of dimming zones definitely improved it, no doubt. But let's go to some content. I know you guys love the horses, but come on. We got to have the horses at 10,000 nits, everybody.
So yeah, everybody put your sunglasses on.
I was on Classy's stream. I think it was yesterday, right? Classy, was yesterday, the day before yesterday with Stacy Spears and Don Munsel. And they were talking about this new disc. This is their disc. It's available. And they graded it in 10,000 nits, and everything else are just layers below that. So we're going to run its native layer, which is 10,000 HDR. And let's see how they do. And the G3 should be able to do it well, because it should have better tone mapping. So as we go through this, I'll tell you that, I'm going to slow it down a bit so we can kind of talk about it.
What's the color?
How do you see it on your side? Can you see it well?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. What's the color temperature on the TCL, and how are they matching up?
So the TCL is in movie mode with default in movie mode. It's max warmth at -5. And it looks to be pretty close to correct. As you can see, it's very similar to the white on the U8H, which is calibrated. So out of the box at -5, it looks to be pretty good. You could maybe go to -4 if you feel it's too warm, but I wouldn't go any cooler than that. And in scenes like this, where it's full screen high APL, you see the G3, even though it has the MLA, it won't be able to keep up with MiniLED. And what did you say, Brian? Is like sometimes you want that extra brightness. And so in these HDR scenes, the TCL isn't brighter than the U8H. So it's actually pretty accurate, all three of them. So it's just in that SDR, maybe it was SDR mode or something. I don't know why, but it was super bright.
Okay. So it looks like it with HDR enabled. Now, there is no indicator it's in HDR, though. There isn't anything.
No. Well, let me see if it has an indicator here. Yeah, see, it just says movie. That's it. But I can see that it's clipping. Ooh. Okay, so right here, the TCL is not handling 10,000 nits well at all. So I don't know if you can see the detail. Yeah, you can see it, right? You don't see the grass or anything, so I'm going to rewind it and see if I put it at a lower brightness level from the source, if things get a little bit better. Here we go. So let's take that down. We'll start with 1,000 nits. All TVs can do 1,000 nits, right? So at 1,000 nits, all the details there.
Yep.
Very similar to the other TVs. But as you go up to, let's go up to 2,000 nits.
Classy's asking if there's a tone map, specific tone map setting, FOMO.
There is. I turned it off, so I'll turn it on right here, and we'll see what happens. So right here at 2,000 nits, you see it clipping the details. So let's see if we play with the tone mapping. And it's possible that you need to have tone mapping on. Leave it on. So let's see. Is it under expert calibration? Nope. Dynamic. So you have dynamic tone mapping here. Let me rewind it and see if that helps. Oop, try that again. This is why the horses scene is great, because you can tell that it's clipping the detail much better than any other scene. All right, it's coming up. There we go.
Looks like a little bit of it's back.
Okay, so let's turn on the tone. Let me turn tone mapping on. I haven't turned it on yet, but we will.
Oh, we're back at 10,000 nits, or are we back to 1,000?
2,000. It's 2,000 nits.
2,000, okay.
Okay, so tone mapping is on. And this is dynamic tone mapping. It's a little bit better, so let's go to 10,000 nits again.
Yep. It's still so better.
It's a lot better, and you definitely need to leave it on. But as you can see, in dynamic tone mapping on, all three TVs actually look very similar. However, on the U8H, the horses more closely match the OLED, the G3, than the QM8. So I don't know, maybe I have to also turn on dynamic contrast. I mean, sometimes the TVs...
Well, the really good thing about this coverage, FOMO, first of all, FOMO always goes live without a net. That's why I love working with him. He's like, oh, let's just see if this works. Is you're able to see how he's figuring out the settings. So even instead of doing just a review of the TV, you're actually watching them on the fly, figuring it out. And that's really, I think, what's so helpful for so many of us is say, okay, let's watch. Because I'm certainly happy you're going to be figuring this out before I compare them. We have 426 in the chat. Everybody, please hit like, show your support for my boy. This is not easy what he's doing, and I really appreciate you guys being here. Supacabra, what's happening?
So I raised the,
we know these by heart.
I raised the exposure a bit so you can see the color of the horse a bit, right? The difference in the lighting. So as you can see, the QM8, the horse is a little bit lighter, whereas the U8H and the G3, the shade of the horse is a little bit darker as it should be. So this is interesting that although in some scenes it has better contrast right here, I believe partly it's because of the tone mapping of bright content. So TCL, if you're watching, you guys work on the tone mapping of these bright scenes. So we'll keep on.
Where we have Classy's asking about the local dimming. And also, let me know, what's the local dimming called in this? What are the titles of it?
So that's a good question. You don't have local dimming control. So let me show you. It's local dimming on all the time, because I was looking for that, Classy. So look, right? So here we are, picture mode, right?
Beaver.
Right?
Oh,
advanced
you skipped over
setting.
the Beaver, bro.
If you go to advanced setting, there's nothing here that lets you play with local dimming, right? Expert calibrations, white balance. You go to brightness settings, right? So brightness, contrast, black level, dynamic contrast, black stretch, whatever that means, dynamic tone mapping, we have it on, and local contrast, there is nothing for dimming zone control.
But is the local contrast local dimming though? Maybe.
You mean
that's what I'm telling you. Maybe it's not a dynamic.
Maybe, right? Maybe. So
it's got to be.
Automatic adjust backlight and contrast. See, I mean, okay, so let's look at what it's saying. Local contrast automatically adjusts backlight and contrast based on individual areas of the screen. And this is a great one. So let me pause. Right.
Dave is saying it's local. Dave said it's local contrast.
So local contrast is local dimming, you guys think? It's on high. So let's play with that and see what happens. So this is a good scene. I'll pause right here.
Look how good the G3 looks right there, though.
Nah, the G3 has got a heat sink. It's not going to burn in. Or it'll dim. So I'm safe. All right. So let's go down to that local contrast. Or I'm sorry. Here we go. It's on high right now. So I guess it maybe defaults on high.
Okay.
So if I turn it off, low, there's barely any difference, guys, between low.
So you want to run back to that to our horse.
Let me turn up the exposure so you guys can see it better, because I think you guys need to see it a bit overexposed to really get a feel for what I'm seeing. Okay, so it's off right now, and then low lifts it a little bit. Let me take it to the horses again, then, because the horse is really
taking it to the street. Hey, hey, hey. All right, guys.
So right now, so I'll have it on. Let me put it on high right now.
Chris is saying local contrast equals local dimming. You want it on high. And here, poor Michael Grubbs. K, I'm white knuckling now. Michael, I'm sorry about what I said about the menus. I sorry, man. My bad. He's like, Brian, shut up. I just spent. Did you buy the 85?
Let me enjoy my TV in peace.
He's like, what do you mean there's no local dimming?
Okay, so this is a great scene because I can see that there's no. So the clouds are totally clipped, right? There is, let me lower the contrast, lower the exposure. You guys could see that the brightness in the clouds.
Oh, quickly, FOMO, was there an update out of the box? Day one update, anything?
So I'm making sure you guys see what I'm seeing there. Okay, so.
FOMO, quickly, did you have any updates at all?
Yes, I literally updated it before we went on the stream. So it's got its first update already.
All right, so we're up to date, guys.
Okay, so local contrast is on high right now.
All right, okay, all right.
Low, off. I don't know, guys. I mean, I'll leave it on high, but let me see the dynamic tone mapping. Oh, okay, you got to keep it off. Dynamic tone mapping needs to be off because when I turn it on, it brightens everything, but then it starts to clip out all the detail in the cloud. So you got to leave it off. I'm sorry. So dynamic tone mapping off gives you the highlights that matches the U8H and the G3. So leave it off. It just doesn't do the 2000 nit content as well. Oh, it's at 10,000 nits. So let's put it down. Yeah, 10,000 nits. It clipped the horses, unfortunately.
So we have Dave here saying that when you use the Spears Munsil disc, you had to lower contrast to 85 to 90 to stop clipping whites. But that would hamper HDR. This guy Dave NG5GG, he said something about lowering 85 to 90 for the contrast to stop clipping the whites. But doesn't HDR amp that up for a reason?
Yeah, so it depends on the TV. So I know on the Oh, okay. Actually, you know what? It looks better now.
Okay, so with what? The dynamic tone mapping off now. We're dynamic tone mapping off, and we're local contrast high.
So let's review this again one more time.
All right, let's
All
go ahead
right.
and let's jump back out and we'll put the countdown again. Let's start it over.
So
Take
movie
9.
mode, right? Advanced settings,
Thank you,
brightness
Boomer.
settings. Dynamic contrast needs to be off, and dynamic tone mapping needs to be off. Local contrast is on high. Okay. And at 10,000 nits,
Buddy Love, what's up, baby? All the usual suspects are in that.
So
What's up,
it
buddy?
doesn't at 10,000. Yeah, at 10,000 nits, it's okay.
Definitely better than it was. That's what we're looking
It was better than it was. I don't know what happened before. We're still warming up the TV.
Dude, please look at Michael in the comments.
Michael, you're good to go. It looks great. So I'm not going to complain.
Michael, why would you do this to yourself? He's like, you're putting up a stream? Let's order it. That's awesome.
And just to double check, yes,
Michael,
we are at
good,
10,000 nits. Okay, so far so good. So it looks
awesome.
great so far. All right.
I think, you know what we should do? We should start doing these launch parties and only have people that just bought the TVs in them.
Yeah, only let them
like you have to pre-order the TV before you jump in the chat so we can be like, all right, everybody, your TV's garbage. Please like and subscribe, share.
Okay, so at this scene, they all look the same. I don't see anything washed out. This is great right here. And you know, the G3 is keeping up with the mini LEDs. So for those of you who bought the G3, you can see that its brightness is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's legit. Micro contrast, let's think about it. It's the detail within the image instead of the delineation around the image. Kind of seeing the little details in fabric. So you're talking about like the black levels, not just around the images, Michael. It's within. So a lot of times when you see the depth of scales or hair, that's my.
Yeah,
that's what I've been told. That's where OLEDs really shine. It's not just the outline; it's like within.
And the reason we like to do the Spears Munsil first, it allows me to kind of get the settings right for you guys on scenes that we know and love so well, and then I get to compare it. And like this one, I really like because I can tell that the G3, the highlights are not as bright as on the U8H. Actually, the U8H looks really good, and the QM8. It's just slightly, but that, you know, this is such a bright scene, and at 10,000 nit, there's no way the G3 is going to keep up. But it's very subtle, right?
I like how your U8H is going to be basically it's your BVM. You're going to have it for like 7 years, and every year, damn, the U8H looks pretty good. It's amazing how much.
Wait, right here.
All right, here we go.
The G3 looks the brightest. That sun in the G3 looks phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, it really pops out at me. Actually, it's the brightest.
So guys, that's what we mean about true specular highlights, depending on the size of the, if that was an explosion, it may look brighter on an LED. However, on an OLED, those smaller specular highlights will sparkle. And the brightness in the LEDs tends to be the entire screen. Now, if the G3 wasn't in the image, I think that would be, it would be.
Oh, this is great. So I increased the exposure so you guys can see this. The black levels on the QM8 matches the G3, whereas the U8H black level is just a touch lifted. And this is really good because normally in a brighter area of the scene like this, the mini LEDs are very much like the U8H. So, you know, you're good to go.
You can see it, FOMO. You can see it.
The black
you can see it on the rocks. Look at the rocks. Not just the mountains, but the rocks on the right corner. You can see where it's almost like a grayish on the U8H. And you still have the detail on the. I mean, Michael, you're good, baby. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, no, this contrast is great. The QM8 has really good contrast out of the box.
Nice.
I mean, they're keeping up with the G3. I mean, the G3 is an OLED. It costs $3,300 right now, maybe just under $3,300 with any deals coming up for the 65-inch, whereas the U8H is $900, which is amazing in itself. And the QM8, literally just released this week, is $1,500 at Amazon right now.
Wow.
Oh, the black levels are so good on the QM8.
Oh, Michael getting excited now, baby. Woo! It's like watching a horse race. He's like, yes, yes, yes. How's the screen uniformity from what you can tell on those later screens? How are you looking? I'll just keep us on.
We'll do a screen uniformity test next, but right now I don't notice anything in the screen uniformity. So I
just
really
regular content.
I'm overexposing to look at the shadow detail for you guys. And if you look into the shadows here, let's just turn up just a little bit. Yeah, look at that, right? The QM8 has better contrast than U8H. Look at its shadow detail. It's nearly a match for the G3. I mean, in this scene, you would argue that the black levels are almost as good as an OLED. And the U8H is what I expect of an LCD TV. It's slightly lifted in the darkest areas. So this QM8, those dimming zones are making a huge difference for sure. I'm really excited to see the U8K now.
We had a super chat. Can you hear me, FOMO, or not?
Yes, I can hear you.
So we had a super chat from Buddy Love, our boy Buddy Love.
Oh, yeah.
Buddy,
jump back in.
Check him out. It's my baby.
There you go.
What's up, buddy?
Love the content while sipping on some vodka. Hey, you know, you should be inviting Brian over there.
I don't drink on live streams anymore, my friend. No more after KG's live stream. I don't drink anymore.
Falls on the processing. You know, this is something they could fix for sure. Right now, the dimming zones is doing its job. They brute force themselves to quality, and I love it. And as with all TCLs, it gets a lot better over the year once firmware update starts to hit. So this one, again, I'm overexposing so you guys can see the shadow detail. And the U8H is really good. It's keeping up in this scene. And as far as the brightness detail, all three of them look similar. So
Michael said I could use some vodka right now. Michael, you good, baby. Gotta have that confidence, kid. Gotta have that confidence. Oh my God, this is awesome.
Oh, here's another great one for shadow detail. Let's see if I can bump that up for you guys. Let's take it to another level here. Oh, QM8 and the G3, look at that. Their black levels are so similar. Of course, the U8H, you can see it not being able to keep the black levels and shadow detail as deep as the QM8, right, on the very top of that lake, whereas the G3 and the QM8 is kind of indistinguishable in this scene. I think I can say that MiniLED in some of these scenes have caught up to OLED. If I put these side by side, you guys, without a meter, will not be able to distinguish it.
First of all, I just noticed that you're clean shaven tonight.
What was that?
You're clean shaven tonight?
Yeah, I am. Well, you know why? This is kind of like.
Anyway, this video is sponsored by Oil Valet.
The man cave, right?
Real quick. Hashtag
Gillette is here.
You're looking young as hell, man. You get some AI on your face. Damn.
Oh, look at the island in the top right hand, the background, right? See the U8H, a little bit lifted, the blacks, but on the QM8 and the G3, very similar, but it's not crushing the blacks. That's how they should be, right? So yeah, QM8 doing its job. Looking good.
You see my boy change the subject real quick. He looks young as hell right now.
I do. Where's my older brother?
Why are you using? And right now you're using depth of field. You got all the CG going on. Oh, here we go. What do we got? Michael, where are we at?
All right, this one, it's washed out. Not the QM8. The U8H, you can see it's a little bit washed out. So I'm going to turn the exposure back down so you guys can see it better.
I can't wait to see the eye of the owl. That is always the one. If we're crushing or not. All right. Hope you guys are having a good time. Please hit like. FOMO was using a AI skin processor today, looking young as hell. Getty G-Man laughing, Buddy Love laughing. He is doing some DH processing. FOMO's got local dimming on his face.
Yeah, the QM8 and the G3, so the G3 has the best contrast. The QM8 is right there. And the U8H, you can tell, is just a touch more washed out. But as you can see, it's really close. It's not like night and day. Like normally these things are with LCD TVs.
Yep.
So any questions about the QM8, guys, just let us know, and I'll go in there and play with the settings. So we're in movie mode. It's most accurate mode. I think we figured it out.
Tech with KG, like I don't know who he is. KG wants to know, FOMO, do you have smooth gradation on high?
Smooth gradation. There is no smooth gradation setting. There is a clarity setting. Here, let me look at it real quick, and I'll tell you. And real quick, let me just run this to max exposure so you could see the black levels on this is really good, which is the stone rocks on the bottom of the screen, right? So there you go. So on the bottom right hand of the screen, the QM8, similar to the G3, was the U8H slightly lifted, and that's normally what you expect of the mini LEDs. So the QM8 is doing a really good job. So what did he ask again? KG, you wanted to know about?
He was asking about
smooth gradation.
Smooth gradation.
All right, let me see that setting real quick.
Oh, KG goes, I wasn't being he goes, I wasn't being technical. He meant on your face.
Oh, I have smooth gradation on my face.
KG, how them carpets, baby? The carpets.
Oh, is that micro contrast, maybe? By the way, I do love micro contrast. I like playing with that.
On those DuPont rugs at the Samsung.
Smooth gradation on my face. I love it.
Oh my God, that is funny.
Oh, there you go. Digital noise reductions on medium. I bet you that's something like that.
I'm definitely get you
that's
some.
Default. I definitely did not set that. I thought I turned it off too. Let me turn that off right now. It doesn't do anything really. I can tell that. Oh, gradation clear. There you go. See, there is smooth gradation on my face.
Oh, nice, dude. You are clean cut, man. I would never dream of doing that right now.
All right, let's see how bright this.
How's that blooming control, my friend?
Scene.
You turn that exposure down a little bit. Let's see. Oh, we got a super chat. Where did that go? Michael Grubbs, how many dimming zones on your grill, FOMO? I started all kinds of crap with your skin. So any skincare companies, hit up FOMO for a sponsorship.
Hey, is it me or does the G3 have deeper color? I'm seeing it on the TV. What you guys are seeing there, so the U8H is the most washed out, and then the G3 has the most color depth in this scene, and the QM8 is very similar to the G3. So this is the issue, right? The mini LEDs, can they solve this issue? So the U8H is unable to maintain its color in this brightness without kind of washing it out. And same here, the QM8 is similar, more similar to the LG G3, and the U8H is the most washed out. So I don't know if you guys noticed that in this scene with the honey, the infamous honey.
Honey, baby. What's the blooming like?
Oh, the blooming is not, there is no blooming. These three TVs do so well in this scene. Or obviously it's not in the G3, but the U8H and the QM8 is doing so well on these scenes.
Oh, and Michael, that was a super chat from Michael Grubbs. So thank you so much, Michael. Yes.
Is that because he's relieved? Michael's relieved. He's paying us for the pleasure.
He's like, yo, thank you, love you.
How many dimming zones on your grill?
My bad. I know. Sorry, guys. Let's move on.
Well, you can literally count the whiskers, all 9 of them, above and below.
Oh man, that's funny. All right. Come on.
You're always welcome to help out, Tech.
He was like, smooth gradation. Oh, you got another one. You got another one from Michael's spending money tonight. He's happy.
Well, because he saved so much money getting the QM8.
You don't blow it all at the crap stable, Michael. He's like, oh, actually, I spent a G on this live stream.
Mini LEDs washing out the color? No, Michael. The mini LED is actually giving it better efficiency. So I've spoken to analysts out there. The mini LED works really well because it gives you extra brightness without wasting or without spending more energy for the same brightness. So for you to get to that brightness without mini LED would take more energy. Mini LED more efficiently gets you there, but it doesn't necessarily give you better blooming control. So it's not washing out the colors. Software will help you reduce some of that, but ultimately OLED is the only way to go if you don't want to have washed out colors at certain brightnesses. But then QD OLED is the best for the least washed out colors at the highest brightness. WOLED Well, at a higher brightness, the colors, you're going to lose some of that. And mini LED, the contrast, the drop in contrast is where you lose the color. So it's a give and take for each of these technologies.
So quickly, FOMO, what is the panel type? We
It's a
are
VA panel.
We're all VAs here.
They're all VAs.
For our
The U8H
novices.
is a VA as well.
And we are not in quantum dot land, are we, with these? These
What
are
is that?
QD. These are QD mini LEDs. What is just so we can explain what we're looking at for
Okay,
for
so
these our novices. Are we in
yes,
QD LED land?
for the novices, the
Mm-hmm.
top left-hand TV is the LG G3 with MLA technology. It is a OLED TV. It is the first OLED technology that was available for sale for the last, 8-7 years now. And it gives you the best color contrast up to a certain brightness. It's untouchable because its infinite contrast looks so good. And it seems like this, there's no blooming, there's nothing, right? Now, the U8H is last year's editor's choice for me because for the price, it was like $1,000 this time last year. And it had amazing color depth and it had the least blooming among the LCD TVs. So LCD TVs generally have blooming when it gets this bright along the edges. So you need dimming zones to eliminate or reduce a lot of that blooming. The problem is if you, by software, aggressively reduce the blooming, then you have black crushing, which is details that should be there are crushed into black, right? And with OLED, that's not a problem. So the QM8 has the most dimming zones of these two TVs between the TCL and the U8H. U8H has a little over 500 dimming zones. The QM8 has just over 1,000 dimming zones. And right here, it's washed out. Not the QM8. The U8H is washed out. The red looks a touch pink, so I'll pause right here.
So the QM8 looks good, man.
Oh, the QM8 looks just like the G3 in the scene. I'm so impressed.
So quickly, we have 2 super chats from Boomer Plus Ultra and our boy Getty G-Man. I'll let you put those up. He'll come back in a minute, guys.
There you go. Okay, you guys see how much color is lost in the UH? Oh, perfect. That's it. That's exactly what I see. So the G3 preserves the most color. QM8 is just right there. But the U8H has lost the most color. And this is what happens when you don't have enough dimming zones, right? They're trying to control the blooming. They're trying to do whatever they're doing, but ultimately ends up with washed out colors on the U8H. So already I know the QM8 or the U8K is going to replace my U8H. I have to call Hisense and say, Hisense, you got to take back the U8H. Because I told them, I'll hold on to this TV until I find a better mini LED TV. And right now, the QM8.
It's still theirs? You have theirs?
Yeah, I told them, hey,
you're like, yo,
borrow this TV to review. The condition is I hold on to it until something better comes around, and then you can have it back.
All right, we got 3 super chats to catch up on.
Oh, okay, all right. Let me see. Is it Boomer? Or
we have nope. Boomer. Go down. We have Lee's at the 813.
Right here.
Yep, that starts with Boomer. Yep.
Okay. Can you do some comparisons with IMAX mode on? You know what? Let's try it right here. I'll do it with IMAX mode on. And we'll have some movies as well, Boomer, so we'll see the differences. Giddy Man, thank you for the super chat. U8H with 500 and QM8 with 1,000. Still U8H keeping up. Yes, for $900, it's doing a good job. I mean, it is what it is, right? It's a cheaper TV. I wonder what the U8K with 1,000, and that's the thing. Yeah. There you go. I'm wondering if the well, it should, right? The U8K should give me that red that's in the QM8. If not, maybe a little more. Maybe it's processing, because the G3 is definitely giving me more color at this light level.
We have Lee's underneath the E13.
And wait, here we go. Is this Lizab? Iazab? Izab? Yeah, haven't heard that. Haven't heard. They can't do QD with MLA. Is that true? So when I had Chirag on, Chirag is the rep for Samsung Display, right? He's in charge of QD OLED information and messaging. And he said that the MLA helps WOLED do its job better because it has certain filters that MLA will then overcome and bring back that color or that brightness that was lost with all those filters and layers. QD does not have those layers and filters. So technically, there's nothing you need to do with MLA because it's not overcoming anything. Now, that's his explanation. He's saying that MLA really doesn't add anything. It's just adding another layer for no reason. So based on his response, the answer is no. It would not improve image quality, but many people argue, wait, I see MLA and RGB direct view smartphones, maybe they could benefit from it too. So that's something to discuss in a future date, but their position right now is that MLA does not help QD OLED. And
so this far in, FOMO, where are we with your overall impressions in this first hour?
Overall impression, QM8, definitely better contrast. And as you can see right here, the colors are not as washed out as the U8H, and the U8H was class leading. It did this better than the QM90B last year, as well as better than the QM900. So let's see what happens in IMAX, what this looks like real quick.
You got it, Bees. You got it, baby. Jay Frank, G3 slaughtered the other TVs. I will tell you, in every comparison, the OLEDs will slaughter other TVs. So it's just the micro contrast again. There's just no way to compete. But that said, if they can hang with an OLED, that's what we're kind of looking for.
It looks like IMAX is a touch brighter. You see it? Look at the bottom of this cactus flower. If I go to IMAX, it kind of lightens it. So it makes it a little bit brighter. I'd say movie is the more accurate one. I bet you IMAX maybe lifts the midtones a touch. Just a touch, right? Yeah. IMAX will make it a touch brighter in the midtones. If this scene is any indication.
So Riley has a cool question. Feel free to put a super chat charge on my Blockbuster card. Can you answer which TV? Be kind and rewind, baby. Which TV has the sharper edges? What are you seeing the more? And are those edges do they have a noise? Is there aliasing on them?
So all sharpness is on default. Oh, let me go back to that one. And there's no sharpening that I've added. Sometimes Samsung comes out of the box a bit soft, and you have to bring sharpness up. But right now, the TCL looks like it looks fine. I don't have the sharpness turned up at all. It's at default. Nothing obvious. Now, we're going to have some scenes where it may make a difference, but high quality content right now, no. But right here, actually, you know what? This is a great one where the G3 actually looks better. And you can even see it on the feed, I think. There you go. Okay.
Daniel Vera's got a good question too. Do you think the 85-inch QM8 with 2300 dimming zones will perform better than the 65-inch half the dimming zones? I mean, I think they balance out simply because you have more real estate. You don't need that many dimming zones at 65. You need them with the 85. So I think it would be a wash.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that phone?
Oh, more dimming zones, larger size. Was that the question?
Well, the question was, with larger sizes having more dimming zones, will they outperform the smaller one? My thought was, with the real estate, you need the extra dimming zones. So I think it kind of balances out.
It's more the number of dimming zones per square. It's the number of dimming zones per resolution pixel. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. It's really hard to say because, for example, last year, the Sony X95K 85-inch, it was just a better TV overall, but it wasn't because of the number of dimming zones. It was just a completely different panel. They had a higher quality panel, the 85-inch, a lower quality panel. We're talking about the LCD source, right? That's what made the difference, not necessarily the minor dimming zone differences per square inch. So, yeah. Oh, this is a great one. Actually, this is really good. So you guys can see the lifted blacks. So I'll just rewind that real quick, and I'll get to Buddy Love's super chat real quick. I'll just pause it right here.
Real quick, Dias, Brian, would you keep a 900C for 5K or go with the 83-inch C3 or 83-inch G2? I would probably go. Oh, that's an interesting question because the 83-inch C3 and G2 don't have MLA. The 900C needs some updates, my friend, to get where the 900B is. So it's hard for me to recommend the 900C fully right now. I know Leo might still be in there and want to fight me.
Have you fellows heard the news that Apple's working on their own mini LED tech? I've heard rumors, but I really won't know. I mean, we really don't know what's going to happen.
They've been saying that for a long time.
They work on a lot of tech, and then they get deep into like, you know what? It's not worth it because when we end up selling, it'll be too expensive. We just rather. So they might end up with it, but we won't know ultimately if they're going to actually start producing it. So as you can see here, this is great. This is a great one.
Well, didn't their iPads have blooming with their mini LEDs? So I mean, I wouldn't know if I was
yeah,
really
some people notice this, some people don't. Yeah.
On an iPad, man, come on now.
So you can see the G3 has deeper blacks, right? Overall, the U8H has slightly lifted, and the QM8 is in between. So this is definitely progress. The extra dimming zones is for these scenes. There's just better contrast on the QM8. Now,
well, for micro LED,
make that noticeable. What's that?
No, Chris was saying that Apple's working on micro LED, not mini LED, where I don't know how they could do that because micro LED needs to be a certain size.
For their watches. They're doing it for the watch.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah. It's just so you guys
Jennifer Gala in the house. What's up, Jen? I'm not seeing Jennifer.
I love her content.
Jen, what's up, my friend? Jennifer Gala, check her out. Jennifer Gala. What's up, Jen? I haven't seen her in forever.
This is the ultimate blooming test. Let me turn up the exposure a bit so you guys can see the fine details.
So in this scene, guys, we are looking at that. You're going to see some blooming, or it looks like. You see where on the QM8, that horizon that light above is not blooming. That's supposed to be there. That's, even though it's brighter, but we're looking for that haloing. That light is there. It's not really blooming above.
So like this is my favorite scene because above the wheel, the QM8 beats the U8H. U8H has a slight halo around the top of the wheel. QM8 nails it right here. And this is it. This is why you have 1,000. Now, I can see with my eye, there's a touch more blooming than the G3, obviously, but wow. I mean, this is great. This is very impressive. So if the U8K matches this, we are so close to OLED. And I know some people are saying, wait, is there blooming on the G3? No, it's just I'm overexposing, but that's how good this QM8 is.
Yeah.
This is impressive. Hey, Michael Grubbs, it's sold out. I think we just sold the rest of the stock for $1,500. Are you kidding me?
Now, are you liking the specular highlights, FOMO? Are you seeing a little bit of that sparkle that we always discuss here?
We're going to have the movie scene out of The Greatest Showman. You know how I really like to have the little hat with the stars on it?
Yep.
That's gonna come up next. So after this, guys, you guys are gonna get to see what it looks like with movie content. So we're almost done with all the hard stuff.
You guys can actually, in that scene right there, FOMO, you can actually see that in some of the lights. That's where you'll see, or as John is saying, the star fields. Jennifer, Brian, did you get the G3? I did not get the G3, my friend, because 83-inch G3 does not have MLA. I actually am going to buy the 85-inch Samsung QN95C. So I am going back to LED this year. Primarily for gaming.
Thank you, Getty, for the super chat. Contrast is king. And I think QM8 has come very close to OLED this year. Right now, the year is not done. We're waiting for the U8K still, but the QM8 is currently right up there with the QN95C. There is no doubt about it.
What's that spot on your G3?
I think it could be my camera lens.
Oh,
because I don't see it.
Okay.
Let me blow on it.
With that skin, baby. No gaming content today, my friend. Oh, somebody earlier in the comments mentioned they tried the 240 hertz. If you're still in the comments, guys, where was that? That was way up. Said they love the gaming of it. They tried it already.
Hey, will you show gaming content? I would have to do the TV alone. It's so hard to do a splitter with gaming. It really is. Especially, I mean, it would have to be 4K 120, and I could probably do it, but then it'd be which games. And really the issue is with VRR activated for mini LED, but then it's hard to, you can't split VRR, right? So where it really counts is with VRR. So what I'll have to do is make observations, but it's really subjective, and it'll be my comments. Head to head, it's just doesn't work that way.
But
I think Jennifer, I think there's a speck of dust on my sensor.
All right.
Oh, wait. When the frog comes up,
somebody mentioned that they liked it. Oh, where's the frog at? Where's my boy?
When the frog's up, we'll pause and we'll go into Vivid, and you guys compare. Oh, here it is.
Oh, there you go.
And already it's brighter. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, high def news. What's up, brother? Yeah, I'm throwing my money in. I'll do a video on the QN95C that I actually had a
My
love-hate
goodness.
thing. I spent about 10 hours with it, and it's amazing how it's really that color that the the S95 QN95C has. That was the big difference, especially coming back to the C1. I kind of missed that quantum dot. So the Z9K Dart, man, as much as I love the 85-inch Z9K because it is available to me, the gaming just cannot get in there with it. So, and though I think the QM8 looks fantastic, you know, we'll have to see how the gaming is when I get my hands on it, whenever Robert gets it at 85. What's up, Corey?
All
Brian,
right.
not going Sony. Love Sony, but in terms of their value and their gaming, even the new game bar is, I like that it's there, but it can't compete with the others, especially Samsung.
Yeah, IMAX definitely lifted. I was wondering, why is it so bright? Okay, so this is movie mode. We're gonna put it in vivid, so you guys can compare both TVs in vivid mode with the U8H.
Oh, Arctic Thunder has a question. I didn't even ask this. How many HDMI 2.1 inputs do we have? We still only have 2.
I think this one only has 2. Yeah, I mean, there's not 4 for sure.
Oh, you know what? But real quick, check for me, FOMO, if you can get behind there. I thought that we heard that they're not using the eARC as one of them. Was that what they told us at CES? That's a big deal.
Yeah, that is correct.
So if we have for Arctic Thunder Gamer, as long as we have 2 HDMI 2.1s and one of them is not an eARC, that's decent. It's better than not, I guess. Kuma Chikara, would this be an upgrade from the C1? You notice I mean, in terms of for me, the reason why I'm going from the C1 to a mini LED is for size. I need that 85-inch, but also I do kind of miss the brightness. I miss the punchiness, and for me, I need more color. So I think for me, LG with the C1 I just need something different. So if you're looking for that you would see an upgrade. If you're going to be at the same size, you may miss the contrast ratio. So, but I'm making the jump. I'll let you know.
Okay, so all 3 TVs are in vivid mode.
You're welcome.
And the G3 has the most accurate green, but it's not vivid. It's not neon green. Whereas the other 2, the red on the QM8 it's a really punchy red, but they all look very similar. The QM8 is slightly brighter than the U8H. So for a slightly brighter vivid, it is the QM8. It is a touch brighter. It's actually pretty good. I'm very impressed. And let me go into sports while we're here, because they're on their brightest scene. I think you guys can look at how sports does with all 3 of them.
You're welcome, Kuma.
Before we go to movie content. Movie content's next. Let's do sports real quick in their brightest modes so you guys can see.
Which player are you using, FOMO? The 9000 or the UB820?
820. The Panasonic UB820.
Yeah, Jennifer, the G3, the A95K is still great, but the A95L I'm predicting it's going to be a massive jump in terms of brightness. I know they're going to push that TV. Everything they have on that TV, everything they're doing is going to go into that. And that dot on FOMO's G3 is a speck of dust on his camera. It's not the screen.
It is a speck of dust. I apologize.
No worries, my friend.
Okay, so all 3 TVs are in their brightest setting. They're all in their vivid mode settings. So colors are obviously off. And brightness, for some reason, because it's SDR, I think I have to put this in the right picture mode. Make sure, okay, it's in vivid.
Oh, that's right. This is an SDR, the sports.
Yeah. Okay. I think the Hisense is in, filmmaker mode. I was wondering. All right, there we go. Vivid mode. Okay. All right. So.
Who's fighting in your background, FOMO? Are you in the studio?
Oh, got
banging that wall, baby.
Got the
Banging
cousins
that
over
wall.
yelling and screaming in the back.
Like, yo!
So see the G3 with MLA, even in its brightest mode, you still want to get either the U8H, the QM8, if you're going to watch bright, like bright in a bright room. I mean, they're all bright in a dark room. So I'm in a dark room, but this is why people get a mini LED. Now for you, Brian, does it make a difference for you when you're watching? I don't know if you watch hockey, but a lot of people watching hockey, they'll notice that this is why they get the mini LED. And I'm looking at uniformity. It looks great with just this. I haven't put on the uniformity test yet. I'll do that next, and then we'll go to movies.
Well, for many of you guys too, I know FOMO and I are going to do a video about this sensitivity. And what I mean by that is, what are you sensitive to? Are you sensitive to blooming? Or for me, OLEDs, I don't have an issue with them dimming. I don't find them to be a problem. Some people are very sensitive to it. They're sensitive to, I'm very sensitive to banding, which is why I'm leaving WRGB OLED. What are you guys sensitive to? Are you sensitive to DSE? You know, so you guys have to really pick what bugs you more than what we say bugs us, right? So I don't watch a lot of hockey, so it's not an issue. I watch football and other sports. I have no problems using an A80J, which was reported to dim like crazy, and I don't have a problem with it. So it's really what you guys are sensitive to.
Same here.
Like I'm actually leaving the LG because of banding, because half the games, because of poor HDR implementation, are showing banding.
And for me, it's definitely the DSE of WOLED, specifically the magenta tint and grays. I see it. It's just
See it
unavoidable.
everywhere. You see it in content, FOMO, right?
I see it in content,
I don't see, and I don't really see it in content. So that's what I'm saying is that what's interesting is when FOMO and I are together too, is seeing what affects us differently. Jennifer, I love my OLED C1, easy to the eyes. My Samsung 8K is too bright. Come on, Jen, you were loving that 900R for years, my friend. Check out Jennifer's channel. If you want to see some crazy demo material, check out Jennifer Gala and also the HCR Super channel. Those demos are on almost all my videos because her content is off the charts. A lot of great sounding stuff too, Dolby Vision, and a lot of great motion as well. So check out Jennifer. Jennifer's awesome.
Wow. It's actually pretty clean. I mean, this is not, now, visually, I'm looking at it. Oh, yeah, that's definitely a speck of dust on my G3. It's not the TV. I don't see it. It's on my sensor. So this is typical of the LCDs, right? And the G3 is actually pretty clean. Normally, like last year, my 65-inch G3 was not this clean. So you guys are seeing DSE, but in real content, this is not noticeable. So as I go dark, see, this is where normally on the G3, you're going to see more of it, but it's not very visible here. And so this is very acceptable. If you're running a grayscale on an LCD TV, this is about as good as it gets. So I have to say TCL definitely upped their game in terms of DSE, but it's not perfect. As you can see, the G3 is actually a bit better. And OLED normally is, by the way, with the exception of last year's G2. My G2 was not good. As we get a little bit brighter and brighter.
Well, the G2 was also, if you remember, that was size dependent as well. I think the 65s really had an issue.
Yeah.
For the G2. All right, guys, 345 or 345 in the chat. Please hit like. Give Babyface FOMO some love. He's looking younger. Ask him what his diet is.
I shaved just for this live stream for you guys, right?
Dude, I'll tell you right now, man. You look smooth, kid.
I have to say this is acceptable. I'm very happy with the DSE on an LCD TV. TCL, my 6 years last year, the Roku last year wasn't as good as this. So obviously it's panel lottery. You're not going to get what I get. You might get better. You might get worse. But consistently, though, OLED is better in terms of this sort of DSE. And I'm really happy that at worst, I might have a general magenta pink overall, but I'm not getting that vertical banding that I used to get on the G2 with the magenta tint. So yeah, passes the test for me.
So no burning on the G3. That is just a speck of dust on his sensor. Now, Andy Summers saying garbage trash that TV is. I would love to know, Andy, which one you are saying. Let me know. I'm not going to remove your comment. Go ahead and elaborate. let me know what you mean. Are you just judging the TV because it's a TCL or a Hisense? I mean, these TVs are they're going pretty well against the world-class G3, which is one of the best TVs in the world right now. So I think they both look incredible. Hisense is last year's U8H, and this is the brand new M8. So if you're going to just disregard it as trash, why don't you add me a little bit more detail in your comment for me?
All right, so we're going to switch over to movie content real quick. I'm sure you guys have been waiting for that, and hopefully I don't get shut down by
Are you going to
Warner Brothers.
do a little Dolby Vision on the Spears Munsil quick, FOMO? Just for the heck of it? Or
I could. I have to. Let me switch. Let me use my other switcher. But okay, so here's the problem with Dolby Vision. And this is something that Classy and I, when we had our interview with Stacy Spears, which is Dolby Vision on all three TVs are going to look different, and that's not Dolby Vision's fault. Hisense Dolby Vision is slightly lifted, and you have to calibrate that out. On the TCL, who knows what it's going to be like, and on the G3, it has issues near black. I think it's crushed black or something like that, and you can calibrate that out. But ultimately, and the Sony, other than the A95K last year, Sony Dolby Vision tends to be too dark, but they're all Dolby Vision. So if you don't plan to get your TVs calibrated, it's going to be all over the place. I won't know what this Dolby Vision is like, so I'll put it on. I'll compare it to the U8H because really that's what people are. Actually, you know what? Which should I compare? Because I can only do two. To split Dolby Vision, I have a Dolby Vision splitter, but I'm going to split two TVs. So which two TVs for Dolby Vision? QM8 versus U8H or QM8 versus G3?
I would do the QM8 versus the Hisense just to make them. You guys, real quick in the comments, I would do the two LEDs just because it's more even. Right. I would.
Okay. Let me do that right now. Turn down exposure. If you can handle the questions, my friend.
Getty G has a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. I'll have FOMO put it on screen when he comes back. Any word from the Hisense UX coming to the US? If not, why not? I was looking forward to that.
85-inch at the end of the year.
So you want to throw him on screen real quick, Getty G, man?
Yeah. So, all right, Getty G, man. Any word from Hisense UX? Okay, so they announced that they will have the 85-inch UXK coming closer to the end of the year. Now, the good news is Robert Zone will be carrying the TCL UXK.
Nice.
And he will let us know, and we'll have probably some special event, and then we'll see how it is. And you'll be there, Brian. You're going to be there in person to compare the 85-inch UXK against the Sony X95L against the QM95C. And that's going to be an embarrassment for everyone because the UXK will have 5,000 dimming zones, but the X95L will have less than 3,000, and the QM95C will have less than 3,000, but the UXK will have 5,000. It should be the other two plus as many dimming zones. So it'll be very interesting. Very good question. I'm looking forward to the UXK 110-inch 8K. I mean, now maybe 8K might make a difference because it's 110-inch. I'll be right back.
You got it. Let me go ahead and get a troll out of here in a second. Class, you want to get that guy out of here if you're in the chat? We got some trolls under the bridge. What's up, Corey? On the fly. Yeah, I would imagine it would be easier. Van Gogh. Yes, Chris. This would be the first time that Robert is going to carry them. So, you know, that which does speak to in their area where they carry the premium brands, whether it's audio.
To be fair to Robert, you and I have been asking Robert, and Robert would say, like, until the TVs get to that level, right?
Yeah, he did the dual cell. We had that in the store.
Hey, look who's here.
Yeah. Oh, what's up, Pip?
Hey, what's going on? I don't know if
Where
you guys can hear me. Let me know.
What's up, brother?
You know, audio is always an issue sometimes on the StreamYard platform. For me, anyway. I don't know. Yep. How's it going?
Bro? Good, brother. Good.
Good.
Let's see. FOMO, we got another super chat. I know you're back there working, baby. Back there shaving.
Shaving.
KG, you see how smooth that dude's face
Yeah,
is right now? He got
it.
that Rob Lowe skin right now. God, man.
Wild, man. I'm super low. All right, let me turn myself up. Let's fix
good,
this.
Bro. Let me see real quick.
How's now? How about now? We good?
You sound good, bro.
Huh.
We ain't looking for no Citizen Kane up in here. It's funny having me and FOMO looking at smooth gradation for his face. Snap. You're like, yo, is that smooth gradation? We're like, I don't know, I can't find it. You're like, your face, bro.
Yeah. Nah, it's the first time. I think that's the first time I seen him clean shaven like that.
Oh my god, he's trying to show him off. KG, I hung out with the QN95C yesterday at 85.
Oh yeah, how's that?
I fell in love, baby.
Nice. Yeah, I bet. I mean,
once I turned off the S95C that was right next to it, I had to turn that off first because for a while there I had them next to each other. I was like, this is not fair.
Yeah.
So, but the gaming on it's off the charts. The 144 hertz, cool. I like the extra color. I was really into, was enjoying it.
I bet.
What are you up to, bro? How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Just got here, so trying to adjust and stuff. It's hot outside. It's so hot outside, man.
Where are you located?
I'm in Washington, but like, when it starts to get hot, it just feels like it's, I don't know, 110 degrees, but it's not. It's more like 70 to 80, but like it feels like 100 sometimes.
That's because you got 9 monitors behind you.
That too, yeah. That's why.
Why don't you put a plasma in your lap? Real quick, FOMO, hit this. Michael's spending all the money you. Michael, let me just say this real quick. All the money you spent or you saved on your TV, you were dropping on this live stream, my friend. I can't bring you to a casino. So Michael's got a super chat. If you want to check it out real quick, FOMO, before you start. You putting that $10 up.
All right, let me get to a super chat real quick. Let me turn off the G3 so it's not distracting.
And send Michael a Xanax, please, because my man this has been a wild ride.
Michael has spent enough to buy another QM8, I believe.
So KG, this Michael, let's give KG the story. Michael, I think KG was in the chat. He bought the thing. As soon as the post went up, he's like, sold!
So. Literally, he bought it before the stream. He goes, I bought it because I'm just so excited. For the 67-inch panel, use case 85% YouTube Netflix. Do you think the QM8 competes? Oh, are you kidding me? The X95K 65-inch falls behind the QN90B and the QN90A. The QM8 destroys it, especially for the price. But more importantly, the X95K 65-inch is a big disappointment. I know with firmware update, its blooming control got a little bit better, but it just doesn't match the QM8 all around. This with 1,000 dimming zones. Now let's talk about the X95K. How many dimming zones they got? Like 120, 180? I mean, it's a ridiculously small amount. So
they don't disclose their dimming zones.
Yeah, I mean, on a hardware level, the QM8 is 2 years ahead, 3 years ahead of the X95K. So I would choose a QM8. After what I've seen now, no doubt about it. Okay, so we are in Dolby Vision.
So Michael, how are you feeling real quick? Ask Michael how he's doing. Michael, how are you feeling? You doing okay? Got the Xanax? You doing all right, man? I mean, I think KG, when we do these streams now, we should have at least one person that has bought the TV as we review them. Oh, he's smiling now. He's happy.
So that they could be like having buyer's remorse right on the stream. Like, oh man, what have I gotten myself into?
Oh wow.
Yeah. No, you should have seen
Dolby Vision, they look identical. So excellent, because the U8H is calibrated in terms of color, but its Dolby Vision is a touch lifted. So either the U8H got a nice firmware update, so it looks good, or the QM8 is a touch lifted as well, but they look very similar. I mean, without a meter, they're indistinguishable. So good job, TCL. The Dolby Vision looks good out of the box.
Yeah, that's good. I'm excited to see Hisense this year.
Oh man, I am too.
Yeah. I wish I could see the 110 UX, but you know, we saw that at CES. That was good enough, I guess.
Hell yeah. Get that B-roll, baby.
Yeah.
Get that
That TV was TV was
Okay,
thick,
so
man.
the X95K had 384 dimming zones. That's 65-inch. X95K has 384 dimming zones. There you go. Yes, I stand corrected. Which is still less than the UAH.
So KG, we got our boy Robert Zone is in the
Oh,
chat.
Yeah, what's up, Robert?
Oh, Robert, where is he?
How is Robert doing today?
So Robert, I already broke that for you. I didn't know if I should have, but put him up on the screen.
Yes. What's this? Oh, there he is. There he is. Robert, welcome. We just added TCL, Hisense, and Sharp to our premium TV product lines. We're also evaluating TCL's QM8 series, which is what I have here, and the Hisense U8K and Sharp's XLED TVs to compete in our 2023 annual TV shootout evaluation.
Cool.
And
you're gonna throw it in the shootout, bro? Oh my
Robert,
God.
you should be carrying the 98-inch QM8, which I really want, and try to get Hisense to bring over the 110-inch UXK 8K TV. And we'll be reviewing the Sharp XLED TV, which also has way over 1,000 dimming zones, like the QM95C at the 65-inch size. So that should be a beast. And I know right now, as we're talking to Robert, he's at a cocktail, mucking it up with really.
He's at a wedding, Robert. What are you doing at a wedding? First of all, I know Wendy does not want to carry these.
Cocktails with important people. He came by to say hello. Thank you, Robert.
So first of all, Robert is ruthless. Look what Robert did. Robert's like, we're gonna carry these and we're gonna throw them right in the ring at the UFC event. He's throwing them right in the shootout.
And Robert, if you're still here, High Def is asking, hey, when are the Sharp XLEDs launching? I want to know too. So yes, Robert, when is it launching?
Are you coming this year?
I'm gonna try to. Yeah.
You better.
Yeah, definitely on the radar.
Robert, go enjoy the wedding, my man.
You definitely. And thank you for the super chat, Giddy G man. Hisense and TCL need to put some kicks for their flagship test and all the available retailers, please. Yes, we want to have a lot of these comparisons. I mean, right now, I think you guys saw my recent video on MiniLED where it's going. It's going to be owned by Hisense and TCL. There's no way that Samsung could compete on image quality. I mean, they could match it. They're not going to beat it to any significant degree. It'll all come down to the other stuff, quality of life. Oh, I like the bezel more. I like the remote. I like Tizen. I might like the gaming feature, but overall image quality, no, that's the problem. You're there, you know?
What was that? I missed that last part. I was talking to my. What did he say, KG?
He's talking about the image quality.
He's like, Batman. He just said that.
I think maybe he was like. I think the thing that holds back Hisense and TCL most is processing, and like once they get up to speed with that, then it's going to be a really interesting story.
It will be.
And KG too, because I know you spent a lot of time with the Samsungs. Is the Hisense and the TCL? They really got to get better settings in terms of it's kind of still generic. They're like, we don't need that HDR banner. I don't need that. I think they got to get a little better with that. What do you think?
I really wish that they would do something with the UI instead of just using like the generic Google OS like settings and then like hiding a lot of their settings under different presets and stuff. And I was watching FOMO earlier on the stream and he was going through the presets and he had so many things turned on that, you know, probably shouldn't have been on in the first place, but they do it by default. And it's just like really confusing when you first get your hands on the TV. Because, like, I remember getting TCL, I was like, what is micro contrast? Like, what is this? Like, what is that? You know, it doesn't really explain everything to you. So,
I remember, in Vizio, too, if you remember, too, a lot of times their local dimming was backwards. Like, high was off. But even if you look at his presets, it was like power saving and PC.
Right.
Oh, you know, I can't turn on micro contrast in Dolby Vision. When you said micro contrast, I was going to say, let's do micro contrast, but in Dolby Vision, they lock you out of all of that.
Dolby Vision's like, nope, sorry.
Nope. No bueno. Oh, wait, and you do get the Dolby Vision message. Remember I was telling you there's no way to know? It says Dolby Vision on top. Picture mode, Dolby Vision. Oh, wait, this is Dolby Vision IQ. Aha.
But you can't get that HDR banner, baby.
Yeah.
What's up, Sam? Sam posted in the house.
What's up, Sam? Is not good. It's actually brighter than Dolby Vision Bright. Okay, this is Dolby
It's
Vision
so
bright.
funny how that works.
This is Dolby Vision dark. Isn't that dark brighter? And
Yeah, but isn't
Dolby
that
Vision IQ
they try to say
is the new
darker?
Dolby Vision. So if you guys caught Classy's interview with Spears and Munsil, Stacy and Don, they were saying that Dolby Vision IQ has the latest Dolby Vision with all the processing, and they will, I guess, upscale it to their latest 4.0. And so Dolby Vision IQ, that's what it is, right? And it is the one that looks most similar to the U8H. Everything else looks, so the U8H is actually pretty good at Dolby Vision now, I guess. But yeah, so Dolby Vision, a good job. I'd leave it on IQ. I think it looks great. The U8H is a touch brighter, but it could be maybe because its EOTF is a bit brighter. But all right, ready for movies now? I'll put on movies. And you can compare it to the G3.
Baby.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pull it down.
We'll nail it.
Let's pull it right down, baby. I would tell you, me jumping back to Samsung, I could care less that Dolby Vision's gone.
Same, dude.
I don't care at all.
I seen a couple of comparisons because of Dolby Vision, and there was only like certain shows and movies that I could find. Like Outer Banks was one of them, but that was like the only example. And I was digging through like a ton of different shows, and I could not find so many examples where like I was like, okay, Dolby Vision is superior here, because it's pretty much the same type of grade. Like they've been grading these shows to be very similar, so like you get delivered everything the same almost. So I don't know. There's really not a reason to go after Dolby Vision if you don't have it. It's cool
especially
to have,
since like a lot of times it's dark. You're like, oh,
Right.
it's darker.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, cool. That's not really what I'm looking for.
But yeah,
Kaleidescape, my man, bringing out the big money, kid. Get that big money.
You know what? Everything for you guys. This is all for you.
boy.
I don't get to enjoy it. This is all for my
My
audience.
boy shaved. He put the. I got a super chat. Zachary Eames, super chat. Does the QM8 match the QN90A blooming control? I would tell you, I would imagine it would be better. Quickly, FOMO. Oh, he's bouncing. I'll have him put it back up. I would imagine it's better than a TV that's 3 years old at this point. But
especially the QN90A, which did have a little bit of issues with local dimming in terms of like controlling it. I remember the QN90A completely like would crush out like a image in the corner. There was like a gray area on a black background, but it would just like dim it completely, blow it. Like it's just gone, and it's like, whoa.
Oh wait, I'm in vivid mode. Remember, I left it. What the heck?
So KG. I was noticing that on a few different demos, the 8Ks do that, where they, in order to control the blooming, they kind of dim everything down. If there's a certain amount of black on screen. So I would say to Zachary, I'll have him put the super chat on screen when he comes back. I would say that I would imagine that the QM8 is better.
Yeah, and you know, one thing about the QN90C this year, like when I was checking it out, I found that the S90C was almost as bright most of the time. And it was like one of those things where it's trying to suppress the blooming so much. It's trying so hard to be like an OLED at times. And it's kind of disappointing to see that, because I want to see an LCD just go, go full blast. Like kind of like the U8H does. It's like doesn't care that it's blowing things out. It's like
So you'll see that I compared the Z9K at 85 to the S95C, and it annihilated it.
Yeah.
I mean, it just brute forced it. It was like 4,000 nits. What?
Zachary, the QM8 beats the QN90A blooming control. In that Ferris wheel scene on Spears and Munsil, it was OLED-like. It was so good. At 10,000 nits, it was so good. So the QM8 definitely has beaten QN90A blooming control. There's no doubt about it. Now I'm going to look at black bars. So we're going to have scenes in this movie, in the movies that has black bars. So we'll see. But so far, it just looks really good.
And then talk to me off angle, FOMO, too, quickly, if you can.
Oh, look at that washed out color on the U8H. Wait. I got to show this off.
Yeah, I see that. That's rough.
That's why I've never seen this movie. I have no desire to either, but I've seen it. I'm your fan. It's like Peter Pan on Vincent. I'm like, this movie sucks.
Yeah.
this scene is so bright, but so deep, and the U8H is having trouble without enough dimming zones. It's going to wash it out. The G3 nails it, right? You get all the specular highlights, you get all the dark areas, perfect contrast. QM8 comes closer to the OLED. I mean, it's very close. Not exactly there yet, but the U8H is very washed out in this scene. Now, without those two TVs, it will look great, but with the QM8 below it, this is amazing. So yeah.
I mean, 555, the U8H is last year's TV and was a great value. So I mean, you have to be.
It was my editor's choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Max Chubb, what's up, baby?
Hey,
how's it going,
Max.
bro?
All right. What was the question again? You guys were asking a question.
Max has the friendliest profile picture in history.
He does. He does.
It's like, come watch the kids, bro. You get that kind of smile.
Look at this. Bright scene,
like
and the QM8 comes very close to the OLED, not quite there. And this is why you guys get OLED, right? That perfect contrast. But look at what 1,000 dimming zones does to a TV. And the X95K cannot come close to this. It has 384 dimming zones. No way it can do this with only 384 dimming zones.
Yeah.
Nuclear Crypto, the HDR banner does not show up, but the Dolby Vision one does.
I was doing a really good job with that scene right there.
Isn't this a great scene? Obviously, G3, it does what it does.
Yeah.
It's an OLED with MLA. But look at U8H. And by the way, the U8H will beat anyone else last year, even in this scene, but look at the QM8.
Mm-hmm.
And so it matches the Q95C, because this is how the Q95C also performed against the U8H.
My biggest problem with the U8H is the bars, man. The black bars.
The black bars?
Yeah.
We're going to have a black bar
been.
scene. This is a black bar scene. So let's just stop right
There
here.
you go.
You see how bright it is on top? So I'm going to turn up the exposure. Actually, you know what? I'll try to pause it where there's a big... There you go. Okay, let's turn up the black bars.
Oh, snap. Great minds think alike. Classy just said, I see lifted bars on the U8H.
Yeah, and FOMO, tell me how they are off angle. But on the M8, you can see that the flame's bleeding into the black bar on the upper left.
On the M8?
See it?
Yeah, a little bit.
On the M8 at the bottom.
Yeah, but look at
It's
the
also on
U8H.
the G3 too. Like,
Look at
U8H
how
is
good,
just
look
like
at
the
how
whole
good the
entire
black
top.
bar is. Dude, this black bar in the QM8 is amazing. Look at
Yeah,
that.
no, that's really good for
That is really
a
good.
mini LED right there in that scene.
And the only reason you're seeing slight blooming is because I have it on super high exposure,
Mhm.
but it's so high in exposure. Look on the G3, it looks like it's slightly blooming, but obviously it isn't. So when it's normal exposure, when you guys are seeing it, you're not going to notice that blooming. Because I'm looking at it and it's barely, I mean, it's
That's
not.
impressive.
Classy City.
So
Classy
impressive.
City bought the soundtrack to The Greatest Showman. My boy
Well, you know
doubled
what?
down.
This is a
Got
great
the movie
scene for
aimed with
me
a
to
laser
go
disc.
off angle real quick so you guys can see. So let's go off angle since I'm here.
Whoa.
Oh wow! Oh, you
I
taking
just got sick.
taking it serious? I know.
I was not expecting
Yeah, bro. You gotta put a disclaimer in the bottom.
Yeah.
Get some vertigo. Oh man.
Oh, look at that. Hello Fish Eye lens. That's my, okay.
Snap.
Off angle, you can see the colors preserved on the OLED, right? The color in the OLED looks really good off angle still.
This doesn't
color
even look
saturation
fair
on
when
the
you
OLED
have an OLED picture.
Nah, dude, I'm telling you, when I was doing the QN95C, I had to turn off the S95C. It just was like having a hotter chick in the room. You're like, all right, honey, gotta go.
Yeah.
Hey, Max, are you gonna try and put the new update on the X95 to see if you can get the game bar? I've been hearing that people are like forcing that on there. I would not.
Oh, so did they bring the game bar to the last year's series?
No, I guess some other guys are trying to force it. You know how people do.
And to be fair, this is like really off angle, as you can see. It's super, like we're talking 60 degrees, more than 60 degrees off angle. The QM8 is holding the colors really well, relatively speaking. Right?
Now, what do you think about the specular highlights, FOMO, as far as the brightness within
that's coming
the
up.
flames?
Let's see. My favorite scene on specular
Just in this scene right here, though, with the larger. Right, I'll talk.
Here we go.
In the larger specular highlights, not the jewels, but in the flames, did you feel like which one was brighter there?
The larger specular highlights are very satisfying. There's no doubt about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is where LEDs do fall apart, is in the specular highlights and jewelry, stars.
Yeah, sparks like this.
Yep. Or a lot of jewelry movies that are out there.
Right.
Let's do that close up.
Look at that.
Let's look at the specular highlight. I mean, slightly larger.
Michael, how's the Michael? Didn't you get your TV yet, or you ordered it? Oh, he must have.
It's en route. He ordered it.
Oh, you're asking like the play-by-play. Yeah, Terry, I would not put the game bar on your Z9K. Please.
No, that sounds like a bad idea. Like, it just sounds like disaster waiting to happen.
Sony will be like,
a close up.
Warranty gone.
Well, not only that, just there could be some bugs and stuff you don't even know like what it could cause.
Is that Zac Efron?
Okay.
Yeah, the
well, I have to say, this is impressive. So the midtones are slightly lifted on and so I think with some calibration, this will help. So the midtones, you can see that it's a bit brighter than EOTF, but the specular highlights are preserved on the QM8, which is slightly brighter than the U8H, if you notice. But the U8H, it matches better a little bit, the G3, in terms of the midtones. So I think after calibration, this QM8 is going to be pretty amazing. I really like the specular highlights on this. And this is brighter than the QM95C. So when I ran this scene, the U8H was still a touch brighter than the QM95C, but here the QM8 is a touch brighter than the U8H. So yep, we're there. This is great.
Very cool. Michael, you're good, bro. You're off the hook.
Oh yeah, you'll be very happy, Michael. This is just, the G3 is still slightly brighter, right? It's still a touch brighter, but the QM8 is definitely satisfying. So I'm very happy with this scene.
Which I cannot believe we're saying that these OLEDs are still brighter. That is insane. Like, this
specular highlights, right? We're talking the 0.5% windows. It's really hard to do.
They just need to do it in the bigger sizes, man.
These new OLEDs are just consistently brighter than mini LED. It's crazy to say that, but most of the time it is brighter than mini LED, and unless it's like a super bright scene or content that calls for it.
Oh, I missed this. The high def, thank you for the update. Robert just wrote that the Sharp is launching in mid-June, which means I may get it for calibration in time for Sammy to come by to calibrate it. So I'm definitely going to ask Robert to have it drop shipped so I can get it calibrated while Sammy's here.
And he's throwing that into the shootout too. That's going to be a Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah.
Keanu's got to edge up that beard, man. That bothers me. He's got that top beard. You see that in the corner? Edge that up, my man. Jesus, Keanu.
Oh, the QM8 and the U8H maintains the brightness in that full screen. That's a good one. Wait. Let's name drop Michelle Alexandria. Met the cast of the.
Oh, what's up, Michelle?
Just saying, and I still haven't seen it. I would love.
Michelle, did you say that to them when you met them? Were you like, "Yo, I didn't see it." This movie's terrible, by the way.
How is the U8H calibrated when the G3 has such a? So the G3 is not calibrated, just so you know, Nina Freak. It will be calibrated in June, but right now the G3 is still out of the box. But I'm sure once calibrated, yes, they'll be very similar, because I know that the U8H looked very similar to A95K after both were calibrated at the same time.
All right, let's go guitar scene. Let's go.
Oh, the guitar scene.
Boom, there it is. Do I not know my boy? Boom. Where is it? Pause it.
That is satisfying.
You're getting risky, huh? You're beginning that 4 seconds there.
Well, because everybody knows I love the scene. Here, we're gonna run it again.
Hey, G, you know, I'm maybe walking a tightrope.
Yeah.
5 seconds. Oh, snap.
Okay. All right.
Look at the OLED, though, man. How bright the OLED is with the freaking.
Oh, this looks really good. Wow. So this is why you get a mini LED. Is the bright scene with an even brighter flame, and the MLA OLED does it. It's man, I have to say that MLA LG and MLA does this scene really well.
Even the speaker though, that horn speaker next to it.
Yeah, the sparkle.
What a good.
The guitar sparkles really well.
I want to fight
so right here, the QM8 looks a bit more has better contrast than the U8H. That's a great scene.
That is a good scene. What do we got next? Some pan?
Pan is coming up next after this one.
Great. You got to work on our remix.
I know. I'm constantly
just do Fury all day.
So this is the bright scene, right? Oop, here we go. Ah, darn it. This is so hard to catch. I'll do it in the next one.
I'm going to turn this on right now.
And we're almost there.
Oh, nice pausing ability. All right.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. I mean, and this is the scenes where I say OLED and Mini LED, when done well, they're very hard to distinguish. The U8H is a touch less contrast, but the QM8 really matches well. We're so close to Mini LED. Oh, here's a great one. Look at that brightness.
That's a poster.
So this is where I'll turn up the exposure so you can see which one has why infinite contrast is so important. So look at the QM8, how it matches the G3 in the shadow detail, whereas the U8H is slightly washed out because it's so bright. But with enough dimming zones, you could bring it close to OLED. What do you guys think? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
We get a lot of questions about subtitles. You guys
yeah, subtitles. You know, I could turn on subtitles. I don't know if you guys will see it, though. Let me see.
Especially in this scene where he's like, ah!
Like,
just yelling at each other. All right, looks good.
All right, let's see. Subtitles.
How much subtitles do you guys actually watch?
All right, let's try this again. Is he yelling and screaming?
There's no words in this whole entire scene. And actually, Tom Hardy's got like 5 words of dialogue. You, me, that. Let's see.
How come there's no sub? I mean, shouldn't he be talking? I thought there was something there.
They're just talking smack. They're just screaming. Guiltiness, we just did the black bar performance about 15 seconds ago. Looks good.
Oh.
Is this the saxophone guy scene from Lost Boys?
The saxophone
He's
guy.
all sweaty. Nope, it's not. And what movie is this? What is this?
This is The Peculiar Children.
Oh, that's a good movie. I like that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which one is it? Which one is The Peculiar Children? Oh, no, the, what's it called? KG, it's not Peculiar Children. It's
well, this is a great one for the G3. Look at how bright it is.
Yeah.
The G3 is really bright. This is why people get they want the G3 with MLA.
Uneasy Rider. When I want to read, I buy a book.
Oh, here you go, Pan. All right. This is the one where tone mapping is so important.
Look at Classy with the actual title for me. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar. You got the album on that one too, bro? Vinyl.
Okay. So,
all right, here we go.
Let me turn down the exposure here.
It's Peregrine, okay. I always thought it was Pellegrine. I don't know why.
Pellegrino? Is that Pellegrino?
It's like the Italian version.
Yeah. Pellegrino! Hey! Everything you got to do, Mario. Let's see.
Okay, so, yeah. So the QM8, this is where it's blowing out the higher specular highlights. Now, there's a difference between it's blowing it out and is this creator's intent. Because when this scene was graded, the monitor may not have access to the brightness above 1,000 nits. So although there's detail, it may not matter. This is what I tell people all the time. As long as it hits that peak brightness, it's important. But for those who are just digging into the details, the QM8 does blow out that detail. But normally when you reduce contrast, you can then fix that. So this is where the contrast setting will bring back some of that. So let's see. Oops, not brightness.
Oh, well, Michelle's done being nice. She's talking smack. She's saying, does FOMO only have 5 movies?
I only have 5. Well, I'll show you my Kaleidescape collection.
I mean, guys, I mean, really, what do you want to do?
Oh no! So contrast
you want
doesn't
to
help.
take requests?
Let's see dynamic
Show us
tone
some
mapping
Star
and see if that
Wars.
helps.
Put on
I'm just trying to
Jaws.
see if I can recover any of that detail with the dynamic tone mapping. Yes. Yep. So dynamic tone mapping, we'll recover that. I'll leave it off, but so you guys can see, having it on recovers those highlights. So that's something you guys could play with. Play with dynamic tone mapping if you think you're clipping out the specular highlights.
So Nathan Green would like to see Dirty Dancing 2.
Dirty Dancing?
The return of a Swayze. Gotta keep it light, fellas. Gotta keep it light, baby. Keep it light.
Do I only have 5 movies in my collection? You know, I try to find new movies, actually. Monster Hunter is a new movie I'm using now because of the near black pulsing banding issue.
Right.
I don't think I have it in here, though, but I'll add it to my live stream script.
Isn't that one of those movies that's in HDR?
Yes. HDR? Oh, I mean HDR 10 plus? Yes.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Michael said no one puts FOMO in the corner. HDR impact on Dirty Dancing.
That is such a wonderful comment. Look how bright that is. I'm gonna have to.
It looks like
here we go.
the flare is pink on the U8H.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if that's just
Why is
the
it
camera.
And
but-
look how much brighter the QM8 flare is. Okay, right here, QM8 wins. Look at that brightness on the QM8.
Nice pause, bro. Nice
But is it because
pause right
is it because my dynamic tone mapping is on? Let me turn off dynamic tone mapping. I'm like cheating.
Keep that on, bro.
Well,
you want to make it look
on for the QM8.
You guys and your accuracy, KG. That looks good. Turn it off.
I don't know why you said my name. It's you know I don't do that.
No, that's what I'm saying, KG. I know
it's
you and
so
I keep
bright.
that on, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so even
there
with
we go.
dynamic tone mapping off, look how much brighter it is. So
KG's
dynamic tone
lights
mapping is
stay
off,
baby.
and it's good to go. That's what
KG,
dynamic
I
tone
know
mapping
you. I know
off.
you and I feel the same way. These dudes are always like, "Yo, turn it off. That looks too good.
Yeah.
Let's make it look like The Godfather." Here we go. All right.
I
Yeah,
do
that
have
color
QM8,
definitely is really good on the QM8.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm impressed. And at launch, it's $1,500. So by Black Friday, $1,300, you think, KG? And then by next year, maybe $1,200. What an amazing TV for the price, right? Look at
I know.
that.
I saw it yesterday, 85-inch, $2,086 for a little bit there. I was like, what?
Yeah, someone bought it. Someone picked it up at 85
Yeah.
inches, 2086. Yep.
Graphics for it costs more. Than
Crazy deal.
It
I
is.
almost bought it, but I was like, where am I gonna put it?
Yeah, I think you're out of space.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm out of space right now. I'm kind of reviewing some TVs.
Jesus,
It's like,
bro.
jeez.
And then
Oh
next
my
year, what are you going to do with it? Carry it out of your room, right?
I know, man.
The life of a YouTuber.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes, real owner. In my review, I have the season 8. I guess it's the 3rd episode you're talking about, that long night scene. Yeah, we'll play with that. But definitely QM8 is impactful here. It looks really good. It's OLED-like.
Oh, Aquaman. Aquaman's a good
Aquaman.
one.
Yeah. I forgot which scene I used for this one.
Every scene. this movie is
Oh, hell yeah.
incredible.
This is a bright APL scene. It's good for contrast because in bright scenes, mini LEDs, contrast starts to fall apart actually. If you have bright and mixed, and this one, it's doing a pretty good job actually. Yeah.
What about where he's throwing like the flames, or when he's chasing that crazy chick with the on the rooftops? Her hair. What's her name? Amber Lynn Heard.
The bright red.
Yeah, but they're like throwing, they're like shooting red crap at her.
Yeah.
Oh, and hey, you guys in the comments, let me know what movies you want me to use as comparisons moving forward, because it really doesn't matter to me, but it's important for a lot of comparisons. Like a lot of you like, oh, well, this one I know this is better on this TV and that. Because, KG, you and I were always talking about what movies are you using? It's this again. We're always looking for new movie scenes to help you guys out. It really doesn't matter to us which scenes it is,
You guys are braver than me, man.
I mean, you got some bravery because you're like playing the whole scene, but I'll just play clips. I'll play like screenshots. Like that's all you get on my channel.
This is why they come to the live stream, right? It's like, if I'm not shut down, hey, right? This is, both TVs look great. Warner Brothers is really aggressive, but I think I've been able to get away with this one.
Just don't show Batman.
Oh, spoke too soon.
Oh,
Don't show Batman. It's over, bro. That's a wrap for your stream.
Don't say the words.
Speaking of, there he is. Oh, it's only the back, baby. Don't worry about it.
This is his back.
God. He said, "Don't show Batman." Wham! There he is. Oh my God! You cannot write that.
Oh, how does that look? Let me see. They all look great, right? Oh man, they all look OLED-like. Let me turn up the exposure to see how the deep blacks are like.
So that Zack Snyder, though, man, he'll make that scene look good, and the rest of it, he'll put so much fake grain in it. Like, come on, bro. Oh man.
Oh wow! Look at the black level on the QM8. Look at that. It is so close to the OLED, and the U8H, of course, less dimming zones is a little bit behind. This is impressive, guys. Very impressive. Maybe she's trying on the exposure so that they can't see Batman.
I know, right? I think you're a little late with that one, bro.
There we go. Okay, so you can see the brightest areas on the U8H. The contrast is washed out on the QM8 in the background, that scene with the building. Look at the building and the black windows. Look how close it is to OLED in contrast. And I turn up the exposure so you guys can see that. But in the normal exposure, all three look very similar. By turning up the exposure, you can see how good the QM8 is at the low luminance in a bright scene. I mean, this is impressive. TCL, hand clap.
Nice.
Let me turn the exposure back to normal.
How many dimming zones does that one have again?
He's running it.
Do we know? Do you know the dimming zones?
Was that?
The dimming zones on the 65-inch?
Yes.
65-inch?
Yes, 65-inch dimming zone is 1,000. It's under 1,100. I think it's 1,084, 1,064, just over 1,000. Under 1,100, over 1,000, somewhere there.
Yeah.
Whereas
what's the U8H?
The U8H is 564, 580, something like that.
Okay.
The QM95C is 1,344, and the U8K will be the same as the QM8, between 1,000 and 1,100. So that U8K shootout's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to that. So I think Michael, he chose a great TV.
Yeah.
That's the shot. That's a shot right there.
Exactly. The answer is no. I did the black bars in The Greatest Showman and the bright scene where you have the edges, and it nailed it. It did it better than the QM8 did. It did it better, as good as the QM95C, if not better, and better than U8H. So the QM8, I think, has solved the black bars for LCD mini-LED TVs this year, without black crushing, by the way, because you guys see in these scenes, they're not crushing the blacks at all. So this is really good. So this is a challenge to Hisense U8K to at least match it. And if U8K beats it, that means the U8K is OLED-like. And I don't know, would you pay a double to get an OLED? That's
I wish you still had the QN95C in the house.
I know, right? That'd be so
That would
easy.
have been a great matchup.
I know, but Samsung's like, send back the QM95C and we'll send you the S90C. I'm like, all right, I've had enough.
Like before that other TV gets in there, well, let's look at that one back real quick.
Was that this?
That's the scene right there, man. With from behind when he has the whole full field. That's what you got to see for the LEDs. Go back for it for me.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's going to repeat to that one, so I'll pause it.
Not that one. It's where he's behind over the shoulder.
You are flirting with danger right here. Like, just...
He's not flirting. He's deep.
Yeah. It's...
I am Dr. Danger. Right here? Right there?
Nope. Keep going.
That's a good one, though.
Yep.
That one?
Nope. Let him get up in the air.
Oh, let him get up in the air.
Yep.
That one.
A little more. Right around when he gets to the middle of the screen. Yeah, right around. Yep, there you go. Right around there.
That one? Okay, what are we looking for?
just want to see the specular highlights on an LED because they're not a smaller window. They should be brighter on the LED here.
Right.
That's where LEDs to me are more. They have more HDR impact.
Yeah.
Is when they're more full field, right?
It depends on the grade of the film, though. Like, it has to be able to push it. Otherwise, it won't really matter.
Okay, so for specular highlights, I lowered the contrast. And the OLED, that dot on the right-hand corner, slightly brighter on the OLED, but the QM8 is right there, right?
But the full field flames, the bigger flames should be the ones that look brighter.
On the OLED? Or
on the LEDs?
Oh, yeah. The U8H is the brightest of the three.
Because this was, I believe this was a higher graded. This was like the first HDR disc that all of us were like, oh my God, this is HDR when we first saw the specular highlights on LEDs.
Yeah, this is a great movie.
So
Michelle, you're bringing back the S95C?
Michelle never G3 is keeping up in this scene too. MLA is doing its job. And the U8H is a touch brighter than the other two, but all are great. And guys, you know, no perfect TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's continue.
Michelle, you're bringing back the S95C. There it is.
Right there.
Wow,
yeah, the U8H is just a touch brighter, just a touch. And only because I'm using the camera as my exposure monitor, I can see that's a touch brighter, but it's not significant.
What's interesting though is for the first time we're seeing like an OLED have whites, like really white. You know, usually they turn really dim.
Yeah.
It looks like the G3 matches the QM8 like with color.
Is that great?
It's crazy.
So the QM8 is like the poor man's G3. And a reminder, the G3's just above $3,000. The QM8 literally half the price of $1,500, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's insanity. Now, we haven't tested gaming. Maybe you're paying extra for the gaming.
Are you noticing any like weird issues with processing, like artifacts or anything like that?
Not right now. I mean, this is the first time I'm watching it, and I don't see anything obvious. The tone mapping is fine. Everything is solid. In this scene, the U8H is a touch brighter, but wow. And by the way, the U8H is impressing me in this scene a lot. This is why you get the U8H also, is for just action movies where you don't really care about contrast as much as the explosions. The U8H is the brightest of the three here. But processing, everything looks good. Now, we all know how motion is very personal and sensitive. I don't see any motion issues so far, and all motion processing is off on the QM8. But I think you guys, when you guys test gaming, KG, you will probably discover something, because I know that's where the issues are. Okay.
Yeah.
And so
TCL is actually pretty good about gaming. From my experience, they have some issues, but that's like only when you turn on VRR on, then you run into the issues. But that's like a MediaTek thing.
Yep. Michelle, I would hard reset the S95C. It's not going to fix itself. So I would hard reset it if you're having issues with connectivity.
So this is my movie collection, and I could add whatever. So if you guys have any requests, just let me know, and we'll add it to the list, and we'll do some scenes. So
nice.
It's a lot of movies.
You have more than 5, huh?
Huh? I know Michelle's like, you have more than 5?
500.
It's a lot of work to choose the right one. Hey, we're going to end soon, and I'm going to hand over the rest of the stream to KG. KG, are you going to have a live stream today with Max? Or are you alone?
We'll just roll right into it.
Brian to join you? Send him some cola?
Yeah, you guys are welcome to join, of course. Yeah, we're going to roll right into it probably right after your stream. So
okay. If you have the link, give it to me or share it. Send it to me in a private or whatever, and I'll share it here. And anyone questions, let me know now. I'm excited for the U8K. Has any of you watched the new trailers of Killers of the Flower Moon? What a trailer. Oh my God, what a trailer. The cast is crazy. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Go trailer.
Yep, I'm going to send it right now.
Okay. And Chris, I will definitely check out Aquaman Chapter 6. Okay, I'll remember that. Chapter 6. Anyone know what scene that is in particular? Give me a description of that scene. And let's see. Let me
All right, put it in the private chat.
Wait, Michelle, you got the S95C. You swore you would not get a new TV this year, and she got the S95C.
But she's sending it back. Don't let her get it twisted. She said there's already problems. Man, she's saying there's problems with it.
Michelle, you're going to end up getting the A95L. Any predictions that she will get the A95L? I think she will.
No, she's looking at this one.
Yeah, the QM8 so far, just for movie watching, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a sleeper for sure.
Oh, think about it. 85-inch. Already now, it's at 2,100. Yeah. Where will it be on Black Friday? Under 2,000. Dude, 85-inch sub 2,000 TV that performs like this, I am just so impressed. And we're just talking value and price and performance, but beyond that, it's a good image quality for streaming and HDR. Gaming, obviously, very complicated, but just for everything else, highly recommended. So let me know what you guys are doing this week. Brian, what do you have happening on your channel? That's Brian's Tech Therapy, formerly known as Whisper Status 74. The man, the myth.
I'm behind. I have the Z9K fighting the S95C, which it actually houses. I have the S95C versus the QN95C. I have the QN95C, the gaming on it. We're going to have the X95L, and we're going to have the LG soundbar that goes with the C3. So that should be all next week.
Awesome. And if you guys want to run over to KG's live stream, he's going to take over right after this. And what are you be talking about tonight, KG? What's happening?
Oh, we're going to talk a little bit about the QM8 because I do think it's like a really good value just right away, right out the gate. And then we're going to talk about the A80L that just launched as well. See if people are excited about that still, if that's even on people's radar. You know, that's like one of those TVs. It's hard to sell. You know, it's like it's a hard sell for some people.
It's $2,500 right now. I don't know what they should the S90C.
Exactly.
What they should have done with the A80L, they should have done it as basically an A90J and just rock a heatsink on the A80L and just say, hey, look, this is our WRGB OLED. It's got a heatsink. They should have done that and it would have housed, but it's just hard to recommend.
They should have just updated the A90J, like take them all off because they have a bunch left. They should have just updated the A90J, put the new software on it, and sold it as the A80L. Like
that's what I'm saying. They should have done it like a non-master series, but at least throw the heatsink on it. It's just hard to recommend, other than the fact that it's a Sony.
And well, that's awesome. I mean, what's so awesome this year is first, you have TCL and Hisense, unlike Vizio, which has called it quits, even though they sell TVs. As far as high performance TVs like this, Vizio doesn't care. They're making so much money on advertising, right? So they'll just do their advertising thing. Hisense and TCL are pushing Samsung to do better at the $2,000 level, but they're selling it for like $1,500 or less. And I think that's just amazing because people can get HDR impact, the highest levels of OLED, G3 with MLA at a price that's less than half. I'm just so impressed with what I saw with the QM8. I'm expecting the same from the U8K, and the UXK is supposed to be even better than either of these because it has even more dimming zones. It has like over 1,300 dimming zones on the 65-inch. It's just not sold in the US, it's sold in China. But the 85-inch UXK with over 5,000 dimming zone is coming to the US, and that has the most dimming zones of any 85-inch TV on the market in the USA today, assuming it releases in 2023. So,
what I love about them finally doing also the larger sizes. Now the value goes back the other way, where it says, "Hey, look, I can get a larger 85-inch for the price of a 55-inch, C3 or a G3 at 65." Now we're back into that because TCL and Hisense would always hit that wall of yes, it's value, but you're stuck at 65. Now they can say, "Oh, you know what? Actually, for the same price as a 65-inch G3, I can get an 85-inch. Not only is it close, the size then will beat the G3." If you're that much larger. So that makes it really interesting value-wise. It's just hard to recommend an LED that costs more than an OLED. That's the same size. But this brings that back into that, hey, for 85 inches.
And Chris, Last question before we head out, real quick. How do you think the QM8 would compare with a non-MLA OLED like the C3 or the G2? I have the C8. It's better, brighter. It's all around. I think it's caught up where it counts. The infinite contrast, this contrast is so close. In most content, you are going to be more impressed by the HDR impact and the brightness, like Mad Max or Pan or those kind of movies, or the latest streaming where there's bright. It's a bright scene with an even brighter highlight. No way can the C8 match that. And that's where it's going to make a difference. And in the dark scenes, its contrast is pretty impressive. But I recommend, for what I've seen so far, if you get it calibrated, it's still worth it. Because for a couple, and well, since Robert's selling it, you can ask Robert to calibrate it for a couple $100, right? I forgot what the fee is, but then he'll send it to you, checked it out, calibrated, and now you have a TV that will easily match the performance of a non-MLA OLED with way better HDR impact. I mean, from what I've seen now, the only thing is DSE. So that's the one thing is a panel lottery. So, oh, look at this. Chris, thank you so much. You didn't have to do that. Thank you for that last question, my friend. All right. We're going to drop the mic and end on a high note.
Wow, Chris.
And hey, you guys
look, and Chris, I love the C8. C8's still great.
It is a good TV, right?
Yeah.
Except it's
very vibrant.
It's the first generation that tried to address Brennan successfully, and after that, it got better. The C7 was the last of the bad. Oh, you see how the G3 is dimming, by the way, before we go? See?
Nice,
the
Chris.
G3, right? As
it's like signing out. Last call.
Like, it's like, no, I don't want to burn in. Wow, the other two TVs stay bright because it's a static content, right? So just FYI. But oh wait. And before
Robert, you better get a cocktail, bro. Get back in that wedding.
Oh, and he heard classy. Robert saying we're actually considering a 90-inch plus comparison at the shootout.
Wow.
This shootout is.
Rob, you better get some big boys to help you move those, bro.
I have to get a larger lens. So if you guys don't know, Brian and I will be hosting Value Electronics this year. We will be your live hosts. We're gonna have so much fun. We're gonna just put up amazing cameras, amazing audio, interview the judges, interview each other. We're going to talk throughout all of it. You could put us on mute and just watch the scenes. You could talk to us. You could chat to us.
We're
going to say, hey, what do
sports,
you see? We are going to make this interactive and awesome, right? What is it? I'm going to tell Robert, let us have fun with your shootout. And let us do something that maybe we won't be invited back next year. That's what we want to do.
Right.
Robert, tell Benny to get his weightlifting belt for that was rough.
Oh, yeah, and we're going to interview Benny. Benny, what do you think? You guys will love Benny. Benny is the end.
Benny's going to start being on camera.
He needs to be. He needs to be the face of electronics. Okay, so we're going to wrap up. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming by. Thank you for clicking like. Thank you, Brian, and thank you, KG. He's going to continue with his live stream. Jump on, and until next time, everyone, stop the FOMO.